primer kind of thing on Erin Reed and Alejandra Caraballo, who I haven't really spoken about much. Like when I do, it's to kind of shit on them, but not really very substantively. But yeah, we're gonna watch Chud Logic, who I think is on that side. There he is, Mr. Logic himself. I don't watch too much of this kind of content because I'd rather react to things myself as best I can without someone else's input. And B, I tend to agree with streamers like this quite often, and I think it'd just be really boring. But yeah, this is the 2 worst trans activists you'll ever see. And it's regarding the cast review. We actually watched Luxander yesterday. There's some propaganda going around, let's put it that way. And these are, I guess, where a lot of this propaganda comes from. So yeah, let's have a look.
That's another point that these deranged trans activists try and push, that the cast report just threw out a bunch of medical information. This person looked at the review and recognised it was going to be very damaging. So what do? You get ahead of the game, finding the ugliest possible image that you can of someone and going, male, 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 male.
Directly from the tweet, the 6
I disavow.
justices who overturned Roe should never know peace again. It's our civic duty to
bro.
I'm so glad this video, I couldn't remember where I found it, the video of Alejandra Caraballo getting a bollocking in court, like having her fucking tweets put up on the wall. Ridiculous. It's like, just don't do shit like that, you know? You can tell people, oh, just don't be racist, it's really easy. Like, you can also say, don't threaten fucking violence against people. Hey, Super, hope you're good. I might be watching a King Critical thing actually in a bit, because I was interested after I'd watched a ContraPoints video that I agreed with in some places, just kind of seeing a different perspective. Because I'm not really trying to make a huge amount of content at the moment. Sorry, I'm not talking properly.
Just making it up as they go along. What is going on with these freaks, dude? It's reasonable to want to know.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm still waking up. I've had at least 2 matches today, and I'm still like... we're just chilling today, so yeah.
If you're dealing with a bio or a neo, done. Simple. Why would you post this shit? I just don't understand. A poor trans woman like me trying to buy a house.
You almost think this is some kind of normie who's never seen like trans people before. Like, why would you post this stuff? This is like, yeah, you can say that about like most trans people on the internet, trust me.
Trying to get a vaginoplasty on the NHS. Do you know what the waiting list is like? I'm gonna get some gender stuff now, okay? Because this is the part where if you annoyed about my takes earlier, you're gonna have a fucking great time, because we're going to be digging up some Kiwi Farms info. No doxing, no dead name Mourinho or anything like that. Just
listen, Kiwi Farms is evil, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You have to see what the information is and determine whether it's true or not, really. And I don't really care what the users like think about it. It's just kind of seeing it more than anything.
Some straight up, good old fashioned, great, publicly posted content by the person that we're talking about, okay? With one small exception because it's funny, okay? But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing.
Yeah, some 420. How you doing? Hope you're good.
I have, over the past few weeks, been absolutely gobsmacked, not that I should be at this point, by the complete and sheer, like, dishonesty and lies that are perpetuated about this cast report, right? And
Kiwi Farms was evil, but it's concerning what a stranglehold Cloudflare has over the infrastructure of the internet. Yeah, true. I mean, is Kiwi Farms with something else now? Or is it still with Cloudflare because they went back on cancelling it? Because it was only down for like a week or something, wasn't it?
I'm not gender critical, okay? I joke about it. I'm not a gender critical person.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, hey, I don't think idiots like Keffel should have this much like power and sway on whatever's going on, if that's true, but...
I don't agree with their kind of worldview and stuff. And in some ways, particularly these gender critical feminists, you know...
Wait, before you hit that button, let me hit this one. Join and get a welcome bonus up to 100.
They think men are like fundamentally going to rape and shit like that, and I fucking think that's retarded. I hate that shit, you know? All men are rapists type spiel. And that governs some of their perceptions and beliefs, you know, the gender critical aspect. But that being said, I do sometimes look at stuff, particularly when the cash report comes out, okay? And I look at, like, say, the gender critical side, And I'm like, okay, they're like making kind of excessive claims about what the CAS report shows, but they're being somewhat reasonable, if overstated.
This is true. Like when the cast review came out, I definitely saw like TERF podcasts like doing the victory lap and stuff, but it's the same both ways. Like the trans side would be doing the other thing if they reversed like the puberty blocker ban for example.
In how they're talking about the document, right? Because the CAS report says things are unproven. It doesn't back up the idea. The ideas they're necessarily putting out there. It's just saying it's unproven, more research is needed, right? Okay. So I look to that side and I see a few like mistakes and how it's been done. And then I look to like the trans rights activist side, okay? And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like, you guys are saying
Yeah, so the Luxander video I watched, the only source I remember seeing, although I didn't watch the whole video, the only source I was shown was Alejandra Caraballo, who's one of these people, and they frequently use like Erin Reed, who's another one. So a lot of there's like misinformation about the CAS review. It's quite easy to find the source of it, I guess.
insane things about this fucking report, dude. What are you on about? Why are you saying crazy things about it? Why are you claiming the NHS is transphobic? Why are you acting like this report was written out from the start to make the claims that it was? Why are you saying that because
Those things are improved, it says things are unproven and more research is needed because the trans doctors refuse to share their records. Yeah, it was meant to be like adults as well, and now they're having to do another one in which situation they have to turn over these records, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's kind of the way these kind of captured areas function. Like, if they've got any way of getting out of something like that, they will.
Hillary Cass follows a certain Twitter account, that means they're a TERF. What are you doing? You've gone insane a long time ago, to be fair, but fuck me, this is like mental. A big part of it was assessing the evidence base that backs up puberty blockers and hormone treatment for kids that come to the services and say, I've got some weird shit with my gender, right? And it found that the evidence base was not good, was inconclusive, it wasn't well supported, and it's alongside other aspects in Europe where other health organizations have essentially moved away from routinely prescribing puberty blockers.
Oh, tracking kids into adulthood, that's fair enough. I don't know. I mean, the review on adult healthcare was definitely coming as well, because I got caught up in some stuff with my hormone prescription that was linked to a lot of the government's kind of reviews of policies and stuff, and questioning why GICs sort of lose track of people once they've had surgery, because that was true for me. I had my surgery. I didn't go to my follow-up appointment because I didn't have any money, and it was in London. I don't live in London. And that was like it. They just discharge you. And then when a new GP, for example, doesn't know why you're on something and you have to get hold of them to prove that you're supposed to be on these fucking medications, without which, me personally, like, I could get osteoporosis and all sorts because I don't produce anything, So I've felt the sharp end of it, but I understand why, I understand the reasoning behind it, and that, it kind of seems strange that they don't follow up with anyone and make sure they're okay and stuff. But hey, I don't know. Change will come, I guess, at some point.
To kids that are saying they've got gender incongruent stuff and they've restricted it to clinical trials only, right? Okay. And obviously Yankoids is a very different temperature or culture over there, very state-based. Some states very pro-trans, other states putting in place limitations on trans healthcare. But overall, I don't know, it's wacky. It's really fucking wacky in America. You guys have lost the plot over there with the gender stuff, more so than over here, I'd say.
Yeah, I probably repeat this often, but after the Dutch study, which a lot of the kids stuff kind of stems from, the Americans did a study which was very it was very pro-affirming, going on puberty blockers and transitioning if you're a kid is really good and you should do it. Whereas we had a study that actually kind of said there's not much evidence to show that it really helps them. Their mental health wasn't really getting better or anything. It was kind of the same. So that's a big reason why in America it's much more affirm. And in the UK it's not so much like that. Oh, and by the way, the UK isn't by itself. I think the Finnish advisories on trans is a lot more on the same vein of the CAS report, and also in Sweden there's a lot of questioning of the sort of affirm approach, Yeah, I remember reading in the cast review that the Swedish and Finnish advisories on trans health were the only ones that they would like recommend, as opposed to like the advisories from like WPATH and stuff like that, which, you know, I shouldn't have to tell you why they wouldn't accept something like that, you know. But yeah, Sweden and Finland, I think, are the two, apart from us.
Seems like so. There's the whole okay. Obviously, I'm not a medical professional. Okay, if you want to know about this stuff, go and seek out the perspective of people that are medical professionals that are talking about this. Go and read the report yourself, whatever, right? But from what I can understand, okay.
Nah, just read a news article by some trans person who's convinced it's a massive conspiracy.
Puberty blockers were pushed as in some cases settled science treatment for youths that come in expressing gender incongruence. Okay, the argument was these people are going to kill themselves if they don't have their puberty blocked because they've got such strong issues in regards to their gender, and that puberty blockers function simply as a pause, as they say, time to think. Okay, and that what will happen is they get time to think about what they want to do, and then later on they can either continue their process when they're old enough to fully transition, or they can come off the puberty blockers and go through normal puberty. Okay, so that's the argument that's been made about puberty blockers by progressives for a long time. And you know, it was pushed quite quickly as settled science and the correct way to deal with this issue, but it was never settled science. And the information and studies that backed it up were, you know, scrutinized quite heavily and criticized. But of course, people that are trans would often push the idea that these puberty blockers are the right way forward, using studies in order to push their ideology. In some cases, push their ideology. And
yeah, these studies are like played like trump cards, I find. They'll find any study that works in their favor, and it's like, there you go. It's good because this says so. And even then, you can't entirely trust like what they're reading, even if it's like an affirming study, because there might be details in there that aren't being picked up on. And, you know, if it's an affirming study, they won't talk about like the methodological errors that might be present. They only do that when it's not affirming, when surely you should be weighing up both. You know, you should be talking about both. Trust the science. Yes, exactly. We always trust the science. We trusted the science during COVID, and we trust the science now that men and women aren't actually any different and we're all the same.
I think there's another thing that happens with trans people too, okay? So let's say that you're an adult and you've transitioned and you're happy with your transition in adulthood, right? You are going to look back. It's like survivorship bias. I think that's the right way to put this, because you're looking back and you're thinking, oh, I wish I could have done that and that would have been better for me. What with me being trans and
that we give puberty blockers to minors, but also give them to sex offenders. So disturbing. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, for what I know, it's mostly about like precocious puberty before recently, and they've just been adapted, which I'm guessing is what all trans medicine is. You know, we got estradiol valerate that women take for what is it, menopause? I can't remember. I don't know too much. You know, I'm not a woman and I'm not middle-aged, so bear with me on that. But yeah, it's all like appropriated other things, and they all say, you know, all this stuff has been like tested, or it's like it's not been tested for the thing that we're actually using it for now, you know?
happy now that I'm an adult, right? But the problem with that perspective is that it's worked out that you have done that and you're happy with your decision, okay? You yourself are happy with that. But if you push the puberty blocker thing and people go onto puberty blockers, the argument is now that it doesn't actually act as a pause, and it actually increases the rate at which you then end up transitioning. Okay, and trans people say, well, that's good. It just means that they're trans, and and we should be happy with that because they're living their true lives and their true selves, right? However, the argument goes that, well, that isn't necessarily.
You have to be very careful saying things like that's them living their true self. You don't know that, and they don't know that either. People don't always know themselves as well as they think they do, which is a bit terrifying to think about. But, you know, detransitioners exist. People become very sure of things and then change their mind. It's the same with politics. It's the same with lots of things.
Necessarily what's happening. It's that the puberty blocking in and of itself, in stopping puberty from happening, limits the possibility that someone will go through a normal puberty process and then end up at the end being happy and satisfied in their gender and they're you know, aligned with their sex. And if you put them on puberty blockers, it actually starts the transition process, and then they'll go through that process, and then they'll come out the other end, and they won't actually have wanted to do it, but because they've not gone through puberty, they haven't had the opportunity to actually have that process of getting to feel
Yeah, you've got to remember things like confirmation bias, sunk cost fallacy. At what point are you starting to realize that maybe you're not going to be a 10 out of 10 anime waifu to anyone? And, you got to find some other way of coping with whatever the fuck it is going on with you. Yeah, there's a lot of things to worry about with that. And just blanket looking at things like, well, the detransition rate is really low because of this snapshot we took at one moment in time. Like, it doesn't account for a lot of the nuance in individual situations. And it's very hard to do so because most of us don't actually know any of the subjects of these studies. But to me, that's why I kind of hold back and don't pursue a super radical opinion based on this shit, You took puberty blockers in 25 until 25. Would puberty kick in late or just completely skipped over? I have no idea. From what I know, you definitely shouldn't take puberty blockers that long because the side effects kind of become more of a problem, potentially, the longer you're taking them and the older you're taking them, which already trans people are potentially taking them decently older than precocious puberty kids because they're going through puberty early, hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. Whether that's true or not, I would doubt that anyone's doing that, and you really shouldn't. It sounds like you probably would start to get a lot of problems. So, things like bone density issues, your genitalia not growing properly, for example.
Comfortable, with their natal sex, right? And so that creates this issue of detransition.
This is why I got so annoyed with so many people I knew who are pushing this puberty blockers are reversible, 100% reversible, completely reversible. It's really not true. I don't know how dangerous they are on the grand scale of things, but they're not toys, they're not just changing a thing about yourself. You can just change again wherever you want. This is still your life and your health, that you're messing around with.
Where people go through the process having been put on puberty blockers and then they come out the other end and they're like, oh shit, actually I don't want this, but they could have had surgery, hormone treatment, and other things which would have an irreversible impact on them, an irreversible change. And they obviously have got their voice and got their place too. And for a long time, those kind of voices get disregarded in the pursuit of just pushing this kind of affirmative model that someone comes in, we put them on puberty blockers, and then they'll transition, and that's good because they were trans, right? And the other aspect to this too that's been argued, as I mentioned earlier, is that these people will kill themselves. These kids.
Yeah, so the whole, because they continued after puberty blockers, they're trans and that's good. That's an extremely simplistic way of looking at it because you don't know, things like the detrans rate, you don't know yet whether they'll detrans or not because that depends on the rest of their life, So it's already actually quite difficult to get numbers. And when they throw out these 1% regret rate, 1%, 8%, whatever it is, it varies from person to person. It's a really shallow analysis usually that they're using to say, well, that means it must be good. And that means that all these people that stay on puberty blockers go on to cross-sex hormones. That must be a good thing. That's just saying the affirmative is just good when we don't ultimately know yet if this is good for them or not.
Kids will kill themselves if we don't stop their puberty. And again, that's based on studies and stuff. But again, what's been demonstrated is that isn't really backed up strongly by the evidence. And it's twofold. It's that there apparently isn't an increase in this aspect of suicidality. And the second thing is, if they do have suicidal issues, it could be that it's not necessarily caused by the gender stuff. And there could be other mental health issues at play that could be influencing why they feel like that. And you should make sure that you're dealing with those. So again, you don't end up putting them on a pathway that ends up with them transitioning and to making irreversible changes to their body when maybe they've got a mental health issue that you can resolve. You fix that, they go through their normal puberty and they're happy, right? So that is my layman's.
Persistent rate was 60 to 80% previous decade. It's not going to be credible that it goes up to, and all these people are okay. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Any one study is just measuring those people at that moment in time. I think it's irresponsible the way some people sort of play them as trump cards. All of our pro-affirm, pro-trans shit makes sense because of this study. It's it doesn't really work that way.
Understanding of the situation, okay? has looked at that data analysis of the evidence for both puberty blockers and for hormone treatment for kids, and for people under 18 and stuff. And they found that the evidence base is not up to scratch. It doesn't actually back up these treatments. And this narrative.
Yeah, the persistence rate does go up to it's what happens to them later on. Yeah, exactly. Because they've now got the whole rest of their life in front of them, and they're part of this study that's been like, yeah, they're all persisting, like pretty much all of them. It's like that's only at that snapshot in time. Like if they keep following them up, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever, presumably the desistance, whatever, allowing for things like natural death and stuff like that would go up. So it's very difficult to use those studies in the way that people use them, but they'll just chuck them out like trump cards. So I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's hard when people just want to go back. No, this study says this though. No, because look at this. It's like, Jesus Christ, what are you supposed to do? But they're not using that study correctly. So,
or this idea that's been pushed that it's a settled science is a lie. It's not true, and it was never true, right? Chud, you should go do a deep dive. Go to your local clinic and start the process, okay? Anyway, like I say, I'm trying to make sense of this as a fucking layman, okay? I'm doing the best I can. I'm not a doctor or medical professional, but I've seen the discourse about this develop.
Listen, it's really important to get normie perspectives, relative normie perspectives, as well as just trans people perspectives, and as well as just gender critical perspectives. I don't know. I want to hear from everyone.
Over the past few years, and come to the horrifying realization that progressives on this issue are often liars. Because I remember...
Extremely true.
Back in the day, right?
This is the whole fucking point, is like all these fucking lies, which clearly haven't served as well because people don't seem very keen on trans people in this day and age. Like, some of us have been trying to say for years that a lot of this lying is not going to serve us well, but hey.
Saying, on belief, that people under 18 weren't getting surgery, because that's what I believed.
It's not true. It is not true. Do you think a class action lawsuit will happen due to the detransitioner rate rising? I think eventually, yeah. There'll be someone who has been genuinely like fucked over by like some gender surgeon or whatever. I think eventually there's going to be one case or another that's going to get big. Honestly, I think a huge media storm is probably coming, either over detransitioners or like trans people in sports.
I thought that was true. I thought no one under 18 got surgery. And then you find out that people under 18 are getting surgery. Okay?
There was, I don't know if I can still find it, which is really weird, but some Boston-based clinic that was like, you could go on their website and see like what care they offer to trans people. And this includes, like openly includes like mastectomies from 15 to 18. So the idea they don't do surgery on kids, that alone shows that it's bullshit. But there's been studies on like bottom surgery that's been done on like younger people, and the fact that it's not very standardized. Like you can find this shit. I'll try and link things as best I can.
And you go, wait, what? And they go, oh no, you don't understand. It's a one-off thing. It's just a one-off thing, and it's because of this reason. You're like, okay. And then there's another one. There's a 17-year-old. Well, they explain. Oh, 15-year-old. What? I thought this wasn't happening. Hence, it's not happening, but then it is happening, and then it becomes, oh, but it's a good thing that it's happening. There's a reason that it's happening, Yes. It is true that people under 18 tends to be like a mastectomy, removal of the breasts. That's tends to be a it's not common broadly, but when it happens, that tends to be what happens, right? And obviously, if you're under 18, you're not necessarily going to understand the ramifications of what the future holds and stuff like that.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Chud, I was told sucking the girl dick wasn't gay. The science told me so. Are you saying they them lied to me? Wait, am I gay? I mean, I love to suck cock, but that's not gay, right? Right, guys, I mean girls.
Thank you for the 333 at Austrian Painter. Appreciate it. But anyway, the CAS report's primary focus, I'm going off.
Number of future court cases will probably match that natural increase of trans people over the years. Yeah, most likely.
on a bit of a tangent about the surgery thing, okay? But the primary focus was basically looking at the way the service is delivered in the UK and looking at the evidence for puberty blockers and hormone treatments for people under the age of like normal medical consent or whatever, right? And they found the evidence base lacking, okay? Now, I am not a medical professional to tell you like exactly about the medical report and all the reports and all the looking into it, right? But I approach this from kind of a layman's perspective, right? My layman's perspective is this. I'm a layman. I don't know enough about this stuff. I hear a lot of things from both sides about the situation. What better place to look at than the NHS as an Institute of Health in my country that's commissioned a report that's been done by a senior paediatrician that has done meta-analyses of studies that exist already. And it's come out with these sort of thoughts and conclusions, right? So that's the kind of thing that I'm going to look at and go, okay, I can look at this and think a certain way about it, okay? But progressives have like gone insane. I've covered some of this a little bit already, but they have pushed some of the most absurd narratives that I've seen about this report, right? And I noticed this earlier, which I'm going to show you, which kind of made me feel insane. I'm not going to lie. Okay? Because it's got to the point now where people are presenting the things that trans rights activists were hysterically screeching when the report came out as arguments to anti-trans people that were making that have now been debunked. Okay? This was crazy when I saw this. This is Billy Bragg. And apparently, from what I understand, Billy Bragg is like a prominent trans rights person or something. Like,
Wait, is this actual Billy Bragg or that person that calls himself Billy Bragg? Oh, no, it is. Yeah, this is actually Billy Bragg.
he's on the trans rights side, and he often gets quote tweeted and criticized by the gender critical lot, right?
There's also like a gender critical or TERF or whatever person that calls himself Billy Bragg, but they're not actually that, and their at thing is different.
On 17th of April, Dr. Hilary Cass and her team met with LGBTQ plus support organisations to address misconceptions about our report. The responses given do not support claims made for the Cass review by anti-trans activists. So let me ask you this. In the past few weeks, anyone that's followed this, okay, who has been making the claim that trans healthcare for 18 to 25-year-olds should be stopped? Who is it that has said that the Cass report was saying that trans healthcare for 18 to 25-year-olds should be stopped?
Who was it? Someone actually was saying that I watched. I think it was that Brigitte Empire person. I can't remember if it was something I posted or not, because I don't know. I've been too prone to like gaslighting myself when covering like the Cass review stuff, because I've only read some of it, and obviously I've seen all the summaries and all that kind of stuff. And like I always like second guess myself that somehow these people do know more than me because someone of them supposedly have read it. But it is all like propaganda. It's like you could question a whole bunch of stuff about the trans narrative on the Cass review and get their answers, and it'd still be, but like, how does that change anything that has actually been said? You know what I mean? And then the worst thing that they'll do, they'll complain about bias. They'll complain about anti-trans bias and complain that there's no trans bias in there, pretty much. And then go on to push trans bias. It's like, is bias bad or isn't it? Because you literally are fucking biased. It's wild. I don't know how people are so able to see a potential issue with someone else that isn't also very true of themselves.
You. Okay. Me, Giga Chad. No, it's not. If you haven't been following the situation, that's fine. Everyone's just saying me. Okay. You guys are being too transphobic. Stop being so transphobic, okay? After the report came out, there was like some
Be as transphobic as you want. I'm just joking.
sentence in there that seemed to suggest, if you're a retard, that they're going to be stopping care for people 18 plus to the age of 25. And it was based on the misreading of a line, okay? But they were hysterically screeching that, oh my God, the Cass review is trying to stop trans healthcare for people that are 18 to 25. They were the ones that were saying it. The trans rights activists were the ones that were saying this, right? People like that Caraballo freak. What's the name? Esquire on Twitter were saying shit like that. It was trans rights activists that were screeching from the rooftops, oh my God, the NHS is doing a genocide. They're trying to stop people from transitioning when they hit 18 to 25. But now they're trying to claim that it was the anti-trans people that were saying that. And I've been watching this conversation quite closely, and that's just not true. That's not true at all. The main thing that the gender critical anti-trans people have said is they've overstated the case that the Cass report has made, right? So some of them have been beating their chest and saying, well, this backs up everything that I've been saying, right? And then you look at their page and it's like unhinged fucking posting about trans shit from the other side. And you're like, okay, well, I don't think that they're like backing you up in like showing a picture of an ugly trans person going, he, right? They're not talking about that. And adults aren't even fucking involved in the conversation. Mainly it's about the kids, in terms of what we're talking about. Obviously adults are involved in the process, but
It's gonna be about the adults though, don't worry. We're getting ours too.
it's kids that are being spoken about in the kind of report, You might think that's base, but the point I'm trying to make is that there's some people that are taking too much credit based
Have you liked the stream? You should consider liking the stream.
on what the cash report says, That's the issue that I've got. But I don't think that they were saying we should cut off healthcare for people 18 to 25. It's the trans people, the trans activists that have said that. And now they're trying to act like, oh no, well this point debunks you. Well, you were the ones that were fucking saying it in the first place. Is the cash report saying that trans people would be better off if you didn't transition?
God, is there any more like daunting prospect for something you have to read than like a really long fucking tweet thread from some like old leftist man? Do you know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, every time I see the start of something like that, I'm just like, there is no amount of like intoxicants that I think will prepare me for like trying to fucking sift through this utter twaddle.
No,
To be fair, I haven't read this exactly, but I don't know.
that was, dude. Trans people were claiming that's what the CAS report said. Not trans people, trans rights activists, okay? The freak trans rights activists are the ones who were saying that.
Yes, there we go. The distinction. That's the whole fucking point. There's trans people and there's the trans rights advocates, activists, whatever they want to be called. They don't want to be called anything because everything you call them becomes a meme. So it's just like, well, I'll just keep calling you that then, I guess. You can be like, oh, that means you're a pick-me. And I can be like, enjoy your cult, bro.
That's not transphobes. Is Dr. Cass against a ban on conversion therapy? Dr. Cass has stated that there should be zero tolerance for conversion practices and it should be a matter.
There should be zero tolerance for conversion practices, but we're going to define everything that isn't affirmative transition as conversion therapy. You can't like fucking make it up. This is like ridiculous.
Of a regulator to investigate if anyone is found to be causing harm in this way. Does Dr. Cass believe puberty blockers are unsafe drugs? The Cash Review report does not conclude that puberty suppressing hormones are an unsafe treatment. Yeah, well, the whole point, from what I can understand, the point that's being made in the report is, very simply, this is unproven. There should be other methods we use to try and treat this, okay? Including things like therapy, not conversion therapy, not like, oh yeah, we need to make you not be trans actually. Just let's talk about shit and figure out what is going on in a holistic manner to make sure we give you the correct treatment and not just...
Yeah, so you understand what the other side of the argument is, which is that is conversion therapy.
Just immediately, or, not get to the point where we're like, let's put you on puberty blockers, boom, there you go, you're sorted, But yeah.
Which is the only answer that these people will accept. That's all they'll accept is complete affirmation, 100%. They wanna run all their own treatments and stuff, which I know patients get obviously input and shit like that, but I don't know how much control any one patient with any other condition has compared to like what these trans advocates seem to want, the trans people and like trans kids on like hormones. And they'll talk about like kids having bodily autonomy as if they can like, as if there isn't tons of like restrictions on children's bodily autonomy. You can't even buy like energy drinks until you're 16. You can't drink alcohol or smoke, It's a bit preposterous.
Anyway, the report said we're doing experiments on kids. I don't think the report said that. Yeah, exactly. We need more clinical research. So we should be focusing on mental health until we've done the research. Yeah, sure.
We're doing experiments on kids. I mean, we're using experimental treatments on kids for sure.
Puberty blockers are necessary treatment for a very dangerous condition called precocious puberty, which literally is deadly for little kids without these treatments. Well, that's the whole point, is that puberty, because people say, well, puberty blockers are used for this condition. And it's like, yes, that's true. They are used. They are used for that condition. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can use it for any condition and it's going to work and it's going to do what it's supposed to do, Report did at least heavily imply that. Yeah, sure. I mean, but the basic point I'm trying to make here is that trans activists have like pushed the narrative for so long that this is settled science. What's that truck? The truck that was being fucking put about the place. That said trans kids is settled science. Do you know what I'm talking about? There was a little truck that was being driven around. What paper was that? That gets shared quite a lot. The Glad billboard truck. Is that it? Of course, Ali knows.
Oh, Glad, they're another one to watch out for.
Of course, Ali knows all about this. Resident Tough. Is this it here? Yeah, this is it here. Look. Bro, this is crazy when you think about it. Look at this.
It makes me feel a little, like, sick. You know, it makes my stomach, like, move around slightly. Reading stuff like this. Every major medical association, as if most of them aren't, like, bent as fuck. Transgender affirming healthcare for transgender youth. The science is settled. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. You can't say that. That's fucking nuts. I definitely need to look into GLAAD a lot more. And this is, like, complete, you know, it's propaganda. All those people are anti-trans. Who are you even talking about? And what are you talking about they've done that's so anti-trans? What does anti-trans mean? You know what I mean? Everything that you hear from this fucking cult, you have to take every bit of it and be like, well, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that?
Every major medical association supports gender-affirming healthcare for transgender youth. The science is settled. The science was never fucking settled. The science was never settled. Okay? This was always a treatment that wasn't rooted in like solid medical backing. And the studies that people often cited, now that a meta-analysis has been done, have been found to be lacking. They've been found to be wanting. And that's another point that these fucking deranged trans activists try and push, that the Cash report just threw out a bunch of fucking medical information and a bunch of studies for no reason. Now again, I'm a layman, okay? So take my word with a pinch of salt here. By all means, do your own research, as they say. But from what I can ascertain, they used, the people that did it, they used a process called the Newcastle-Ottawa scale, I think is what it's called. And it was to assess the quality of studies that aren't randomized RCTs. Randomized control trials, that's it, randomized control trials. And they found that a bunch of the studies were of low quality. And to that end...
Yeah, so from what I can tell, like a lot of the studies are low quality because it's very difficult to do double-blind trials because you'd be putting people on HRT, for example, you know, doing possibly all kinds of irreversible things to them. And they're going to notice, so it's very difficult for someone to take something not really knowing whether they're taking it or not. So like it's very difficult to provide high quality evidence, I guess. That doesn't mean we should abandon everything, but it also doesn't mean that we should affirm, because we probably need to think of ways around that, you know? So a lot of the very affirming data and stuff like that, it's probably, you know, you'd want to take a decent amount off some of the results they're getting because of how low quality some of them are. So they're really, you know, we shouldn't just rely on like bad studies because there aren't any others, basically.
They weren't able to use them as part of the meta-analyses. But trans activists are trying to claim like all sorts of things, really. They're trying to claim, oh, they just threw out all the studies that weren't randomized control trials, or, you know, a massive percentage of the studies got thrown out. You know, the levels of misinformation that is being spread about this whole situation is crazy. And the biggest advocates of it are people like Erin Reed, who we're going to do a bit of a deep dive on because there's some funny content there.
Yes, there we go. We're getting to it. It's going to get interesting, I promise. Listen, I like Chud Logic anyway. All his content is interesting to me, but we are getting somewhere with this.
Leno Caraballo and Alejandro Caraballo.
So Alejandro Caraballo, Erin Reed. I think there's a third one called, is it Mia Mulder? I could be wrong. I've kind of been meaning to watch stuff by her, but I just haven't yet. Sometimes it's difficult to find a video that's like suitable for how I do it. Like, it's kind of inconvenient to me, I guess, when people do like really long videos, because it's just such a fucking long chunk of like a stream, and ideally I want at least a couple of bits of content from any one of them. So, but we're doing well at the moment, so I don't mind so much.
Esquire, is that it? What makes you sound like a chud is not explaining why the studies are bad. Well, the thing is, I'm not a medical professional, okay? I don't really have the capability myself.
I mean, I've gone into it a bit, so hopefully, I mean, I don't know if he's gonna try and explain anyway, but you know, there's a basic overview of why it is, and there's kind of you know, you can take it as it is without either going completely to the anti-trans side and saying, well, we need to stop all of it because some of these studies aren't very high quality. But you don't just run straight over to the other side and say, well, that's all we've got, so we have to take them at their word, you know?
To look at a study and figure out why a study is bad, right? I don't have that capability or that knowledge to do that, right? So I need to rely on the experts and the people that know what they're talking about.
Which is the same thing someone like Luxander will say before citing the experts, those being Aaron Reed and Alejandra Caraballo. I'm going to say her name wrong a lot, I do apologize.
About to inform my view of the world. And I would look at the NHS as an organization of good credibility in order to figure out what the hell is going on, because I can't do that myself. And then I look at a report that has got these meta-analyses or whatever that's used a process to figure out how what quality these reviews are, and they've cut off reviews which don't meet a certain standard, which makes sense to me. They've still included a large portion of reviews, and they found that the evidence is lacking. And to me, right, I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense to me. That makes kind of coherent sense to me. Not from a perspective of I want this to be, I'm an anti-trans guy and I want this all to be bullshit. Just of, if you're looking to figure out if something is true based on studies that aren't the top quality, you would look at them and you'd say, well, these are good, these are really good quality. These are medium quality. We're going to look at those and we're going to let that influence our view. These here are of low quality and unfortunately they don't meet the right standards, so we can't use them, right? Like, that to me seems like a good way of doing it. And that's based on my perception as a layman of the way that science works, because the problem that you've got is you could have 1,000 studies of poor quality that say something, right? And it's like the CDO, it's like the CDO of allegations, right? So I could do 1,000 studies to figure out if this pill that I made in my kitchen cures cancer, right? And I could give it to, in each of these 1,000 studies, one person, and then I could go, oh, well, they seem like they're better to me, and make a note of that in my study, say, right? Or something like that, okay? And then I could put that as a study and go, look, I've done 1,000 studies and they all show this, and it points in this direction. So surely the pill that I made in my kitchen is good because these 1,000 studies say it. But then when you actually look at the details, and it's like, wait a second, in this study here, you've used one person, okay? You've used one person, and you've used a pill in your kitchen, you've not controlled for any other variables, and you've just asked the person if they feel better and they said yes, and you're using that as an evidence to point to the fact that your pill cures cancer, right? Is that correct? I think that's what I'm trying to say. And I think, as much as that's an absurdity, from my perspective, that's why I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, that to me is what they've done. They've taken the crap and they've gone, okay, well, we can't really use that, so we're not going to use that, and we're going to focus, even though they're not the top quality, we're going to focus on the best quality that we can out of the studies that there are, and they've still been found lacking. Okay. Right, anyway, what do I have here? What's this? Some of the takes on this are just crazy. Who is this person?
Oh, Assigned Media. I've come across them a few times. These are one of these people, like, just like taking them on like Twitter or something requires a lot more patience than I usually have, which is strange because people sometimes tell me I'm very patient with insane people on Twitter, but yeah, they'll really like they're really quite autistic. I mean, you can fucking see, like, Jesus Christ, all of these posts are like this. It's the same person, like, post after post. There's no... Oh, I don't know, I can't fucking read it.
Assigned male. There's nothing wrong with leaving room for doubt.
Yeah, these people are, like, crazy.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Got to love activists with no medical expertise who now know all the ins and outs of conducting medical research. But
Thank you for
the SC and C.
Thank you for the €5. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and the way people lower down on the chain that aren't in the media, the way they get around that kind of criticism is say, well, I'm listening to experts like Aaron Reed, you know, preposterous.
I can see the point if it were just a single local. So this is the thing for me that really just makes me realize how retarded some of these people are. I can see the point if it were just a single low quality evidence study. No, this is a different assigned male. This is a different assigned male. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted, guys. Yeah, exactly. Nick Static. This is exactly what I'm about to show you. I can see the point if it were a single low quality study, evidence study, but at that point where you have dozens of low quality studies that all reach the same.
Oh, Julie Ray Goldstein. She was the only thing I know really about her. She was in something called Gen Z, which was some kind of, they tried to make this TV show about, like, I guess people a bit younger than myself. And one of them's like trans, and it's like some animated sitcom. They're in a house and hilarity ensues. And that's about all I know about this person. But she's like, from what interactions I've seen, pretty fucking deep in the cult shit. So, yeah, I don't know.
conclusion and you still fail to accept the results are highly credible, you're just being pedantic due to bias.
This is what it is. It's just reading it in the worst faith version, making up the worst faith version of what they've been doing, and saying, yeah, that must be the case because they excluded too many studies. Why did they exclude them? Because they think they're bad. That means bias. It's like, I don't know how you'd stop at such a shallow point as these people do. But I guess if you're just looking for what you think is the truth instead of what might actually be the truth, you'll just stop when you find it, you know? Oh, that's what's being slow. I might take longer than usual. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Hi, Justin Exertia. Sorry, my brain is still not turning on very quickly. This guy looks a bit like Vorsh. Oh, this is Chud Logic. We actually like him. Well, you might not, and that's up to you. I like him.
But this logic, which is then shared by this account, who apparently is a sort of voice on this issue, like a leftoid. This right here, another principle being ignored is that at a certain point, a mountain of lower quality evidence that never...
To be fair, they're both gingery and have beards and glasses, but he's British, so...
all shows the same results, combines to create a larger picture. So I think this is the thing I was saying, right? That just because you've got 1,000 studies that say something, if they're all low quality, that doesn't mean anything because you haven't put in place the correct standards to make sure that the study has got credibility, right?
Yeah, what these people want to do is have it so these low quality studies are just still believed and taken at face value, which really shouldn't be how you're doing it. You shouldn't take it to the other extreme either, again, like I keep fucking saying, but, you know, this isn't the way either, so...
And by this logic, you could justify homeopathy, acupuncture, you know, Ayurveda, right? Like, you could justify a whole bunch of fucking bunk science just off the back of you can point to lots of studies that say it works, but all of the studies have got bad, you know, what's it called? Philosophy, what is it called? the way in which you go about doing a study.
Methodology? I don't know. He's right, though.
The methodology, I thought of that. I've not got chat up and I thought of that.
Like, if you take any other concept and, like, all the research for it is not very high quality, you don't then, that doesn't then become just the standard for it, and it gets to have a lower standard of evidence for it for some reason. That shouldn't be the way we treat it.
Myself, okay? I thought of that myself. Oh my God. I tell you one person who is an absolute breath of fresh air that I always shill on this topic.
Is it me? It's not me.
Okay, right? Jesse Single. Jesse Single.
I actually like Jesse Single. I was technically making stuff like at the end of April. But yeah. They're grabbing any evidence they can find, yeah. Efforts of validating themselves. Yeah, unfortunately, it's how a lot of people see it. And it's quite telling how when a cis person argues with a trans person, the trans person will tend to take the general criticisms of trans, but apply it to themselves. It feels like there's a lot of like narcissistic like interest, if you know what I mean. Like they have to use these things to validate themselves when that's really not how you should be doing any of this stuff. Like the general stuff should stay general, you know. I've been watching you all late. Christina Brown, hi, thank you. Thanks, good to see you.
Is an absolute legend. And he did mention me in passing once in the title of one of his podcasts. So he may know that I exist. He may know of my existence. Possibly, okay? It was something he did about Keffals.
Yeah, from what I've seen about Jesse Single, I think I've seen him talk to Destiny once or twice, and he seems like a smart guy. Like I quite like him. I don't know too much about him, admittedly.
What is this? Okay, we got to look at the chain here. So this is...
We're finally getting onto the people that we're kind of talking about. So this is Alejandro Caraballo, aka Esquire. This person was one of the ones, I think they broke the watershed or whatever, reporting on the cast review. UK Conservative Press going after me. They know the review disregarded most of the evidence, which we've already spoken about, influenced by anti-trans group. We don't know what influence this has had. We don't know if they're even anti-trans. We don't know what anti-trans fucking means. Like, ridiculous. This person's a lawyer as well.
This is the fucking person. Alejandro Caraballo. Alejandro Caraballo. This is one of the vectors of misinformation about this topic. And what, this paper, the UK Conservative Press is going after me. Lawyer shared falsehood.
Listen, I've been shitting on this person and Erin Reed a whole bunch, and I never really explain why in great detail, so hopefully this will give a better idea, and I need to definitely go into more detail. One thing I definitely need to do is just get a bunch of different like YouTubers, what they were saying, you know, pro-trans ones, what they were saying about the cast review, see how much of it ties back to these two people. Wasn't Esquire the person who suggested that Israel treats gay people worse than Palestine? I don't know that for a fact, but it would not surprise me whatsoever. These people are usually like pretty rabidly pro-Palestine as well. There's always this, I think they call it a constellation of beliefs. You can normally predict most of these people's like other beliefs, like what they believe about capitalism, like what they believe about immigration, stuff like that. You can normally track them pretty confidently just from reading something like this because of their view on trans rights. Anti-trans sounds like the new transphobic. Yeah, they. Oh, sorry, I don't know what's going on outside. Yeah, like they use it in that way. It's like they need a way to like group together. It's like cultural Marxism groups together like the Jews and like the communists and like the gays and shit like that. It's the same kind of thing. So anti-trans is just the TERFs, the far right, everyone else that they can lump in there. It's the same with transphobes. Transphobes means anyone who's anti-trans. What's transphobes? It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't mean anything, should I say? Constellation in true Gia. I used to watch like a shit ton of Destiny. I don't so much now, but he doesn't talk about stuff that I'm as interested in usually, so that's mostly why.
It's about the Cass trans review. A transgender civil rights lawyer has been accused of spreading misinformation about the Cass review in a post viewed almost 1 million times. Dr. Hilary Cass, 66, told The Times is hardly concerned. That is such cope. God, do you know what's really fucking annoying about Americans, right? What they do is they take advantage of the fact that other Yanks don't know about anything other than what's in their own fucking borders, okay? And they present things in such a way that is going to mislead people. That it is a complete dishonesty to describe the Times as conservative press, okay? It's not conservative press. That gives you implications that it's like Fox News or something like that. But the Times is not like Fox News. The Times is at most centre-right or something like that, okay? But the idea that it's conservative press is fucking retarded. Anyway, let's continue.
Recent stuff is boring geopolitics, not as interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that jumps out to me here and there, and you know, I respect his beliefs. I find his perspectives interesting, but it usually, when I watch people like that, it really depends on what they're covering. And like, I always really enjoyed like the stupid like glup shito like lefty drama kind of stuff, which more or less like Chud Logic covers quite a lot of it, and then you'd be going to someone like Queeman or something, but that's really a lot of what I watch, to be honest. I don't watch very much like deep, intelligent like shit, even if I think the people covering it are like interesting and intelligent, you know?
The Times last week that an activist had begun posting falsehoods about her landmark review of the treatment of trans children even before it had been published. By the way, this is true. This is 100% true. Alejandra Caraballo, I believe, got a copy of the report ahead of time as like a journalist or whatever.
Yeah, she broke like the watershed, I'm sure of it.
But they breached the embargo and published it early.
That's the one. Breached the embargo. Yeah, I don't know the fucking word for that. There we go.
And then they characterized it in like all sorts of insane ways. Okay? Honestly, some of the things that people said about the Cass report is fucking insane. Like, complete and utter hysteria.
Listen, I don't know when it's going up yet because I haven't edited it yet, but there was a segment yesterday about Luxander. This Alejandra Caraballo is the person that she cites when also putting across some pretty like strong opinions about the Cass review. I really need to watch these people, like a bunch of them in a row, and just see how much of the same fucking points and the same sources it is. I think it'll be fascinating, but I don't know. This is kind of going in stages, I guess, like everything I'm doing, so.
Hysteria being perpetuated by this person. And I'm going to say it's because they're fucking trans, obviously, right? They're way too close to the issue. They can't disassociate their identity from discussion of the issue.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was fucking saying. Like, whenever it's a trans issue, people struggle to talk about it generally when they're trans. They have to, like, move it back to themselves. If you're saying, oh, I don't think trans is real, to be honest, I think there's just men and women. They might say something like, oh, are you invalidating my identity? Because they're one of the trans people. They lack the ability to talk about it more generally, which is something I really try and do. Like, I'll share, like, little bits of information about my life, but I try and talk about this kind of stuff generally as best I can and sort of remove my emotions from it, because you need to be able to, and these people are too close to it.
And so they get in emotions when talking about it, and they end up pushing complete fucking misinformation. It's a combination of emotions and malice, as far as I'm concerned, okay? Because this person's whole remit is pushing the trans fucking rights agenda constantly, again and again and again, with no fucking letting up, with absolutely no letting up, with no kind of like pause, with no like, does the other side have a point that maybe I can agree with? It is just constant with people like this.
Well, no, she can't ever say like, oh, the other side has a point that I agree with, because these people have got fucking an audience to get their bag from, you know what I mean? It's a shrinking audience. I think this kind of thing is like way past its prime. Like I've looked at people like Jammy Dodger and Samantha Lux and stuff. They're not as big as they used to be. Even someone like Philosophy Tube, who posts like a few times a year anyway, you know? This kind of stuff is on the way out.
Again and again and again, you know? Just pushing it and spoon feeding it down your fucking mouth. It's like that person, Erin Reed, who we'll get to in a minute, that went on the Majority Report. Just the endless pushing.
Yes, we've watched that. We'll get to see that. I do want to try and watch as much of this as I can. I'm not in a hurry. I don't really need any content because I've got loads coming that I haven't even edited yet. So, yeah.
Of the same agenda points again and again.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
I've provided hundreds of minors with DIY hormones and only 2 or 3 of them killed themselves.
Thank you very much for the 420.
Listen, any comments I'd just disavow. Just assume I'm disavowing it because I can't be asked to keep saying it.
NHS is also likely skewed toward cost saving. No, sorry. Listen, of course, there are some things that you can say the NHS would be cutting costs on, but in terms of the cash review, I just don't think that's correct, because the recommendations are for more treatment and more centres being opened. I don't understand how you can argue that this is cost cutting when this is more than light young. I was going to show you this. I was going to show you this. Let's go. I'll show you in a sec. But yeah, this is more likely, I would presume, this would cost the NHS more money because they need to open up more centres for this trans shit. Dub, thank you for the membership. Appreciate it. Anyway, let's get through this article. She was referring to Alejandra Caraballo, an American lawyer, transgender woman, and instructor at Harvard's law school cyber law clinic. On April 9th, the day before the cash review was published, Caraballo claimed it had disregarded nearly all studies because they were not double-blind controlled ones.
Yeah, so arguing we should accept lower quality studies, basically.
Wait, what? Yes, that's where it came from. I've seen this claimed a bunch. They're the person that said it originally. That's where it came from. This person is a misinformation vector, as they say. Fucking hell, man. Anyway.
This just confirms it. Like, I watched a certain amount of that Luxander video. I stopped. I'll say things like, oh, I assume the rest of this video must be based because I'm not watching the rest of it. But like, if this is where these people's information are coming from, it's almost like, why should I watch them? As soon as they get to one of their sources, and it's Alejandra Caraballo, or it's Erin in the Morning, it's almost like, why should I even continue watching?
They disregarded nearly all studies because they were not double-blind controlled ones. Under double-blind studies, patients are randomly given either medicine or a placebo, with neither the patient nor the doctor knowing which. In a post on Twitter X, Caraballo accused Cass and the review team of holding trans healthcare to an impossible standard. This, she said, was because transgender patients could not take hormones blind, as the effects of any hormones would become obvious fairly quickly. Her tweets
which is true.
Were contradicted by the publication of the Cass review hours later. Okay, that's the malice to me. That's the malice coming through. Oh my God, it's all just clicking into place. This person looked at the review and recognized it was going to be very damaging to their arguments and to their perspective. So what do? You get ahead of the game. You take advantage that you've got a...
Erin in the Morning is Erin Reed, yes. Erin in the Morning is her publication, I guess.
Hold of an embargoed, because they literally leaked it and said, I don't care about the embargo. You take advantage of the fact you've got an embargoed copy of the report and you put out misinformation in order to go against the narratives that are going to begin when it gets published and people start to look at it.
Listen, I talked about the Cass report on like my fucking Facebook or something, like around this sort of time, like a little bit before, not even around this time, like a month or two before this, like giving my own views on it. And I had like friends of mine that I thought I was cool with, like jumping down my throat, like, this is the most politically compromised thing ever, you have to accept that, all this shit. It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, they got way ahead of it to like try and discredit it. It was crazy. And it seems to have reached far and wide. I wish I was better at like finding out what sources people I knew were using, but I don't know.
Look at it, right? You go out and you say, well, they disregarded, what is it? Nearly all studies. Not true. That isn't true. That's a fucking lie. They lied about that. And that's a lie that is told with malice in order to get ahead of the publication of the report. It's so fucking obvious, isn't it? Yes, the rape accusation playbook classic. Yeah, exactly. Get ahead of the game. Getting ahead of the story. Dude. That's crazy. Okay, let's continue. Oh, wait. It turns out Caraballo wasn't the first, but close. Okay, we'll have a look at that in a sec. As part of the systematic review, researchers looking at studies on transgender healthcare found no blind controlled ones, so used other systems to determine study quality. So used another system to determine study quality. Okay? Cass told the Times last week how difficult it would be to use blind control studies in relation to trans patients for the same reasons identified.
Yeah, so presumably the double blind, because there's no controlling for like placebo effect, you probably are going to get results that skew high in terms of like satisfaction and stuff like that.
By Caraballo. So they even, dude, they recognized that this wasn't possible themselves and they did the best with what they had. Right, okay. God, doesn't this really change the... Null is suing them. What? Really? Mavka, if you've got information on that, send it through. Into the Discord if you could, if you got it. So they've recognized that there's no double-blind control studies because it's not possible with hormone treatment.
How many people have you slept with?
Here we go.
I'll go first. 9.
Oh, this year?
So they...
This fucking hell, Chud is eating well today off of me. Enjoy the ad revenue. Listen. I'll fucking go on about this fucking shit at you anytime.
Looked at the studies and found another way to assess it to the best of their ability. They got rid of the ones that were of low quality, but still looked at quite a big portion, and it's still getting presented like they throw out most of the studies. Right. This is what I mean about the dishonesty that's come out of the trans side of this, you know?
See, and it's the dishonesty that starts to get to people like this, who probably otherwise would be fairly, like, indifferent. This is what I mean. All this dishonesty has been fucking bad, and I've been trying to say this kind of shit for, like, years.
As for Caraballo's claim that the review team had disregarded nearly all studies, Cass pointed out that 60 out of 103 studies reviewed had been used for the conclusion. So 60%. 60% of the studies ended up getting used. But the way it was described by Caraballo is...
Disregarded most of the evidence. God.
Disregarded nearly all studies. Is that not crazy to you? Is it not crazy that these people can just lie so fucking blatantly? Autism, woman. We've grown to expect it. Like... Oh, God. Gender critical people are mean, okay? Gender critical people are very mean and they're very harsh and they're very brutal. And I find the way they go about it sometimes to be sickening, okay? In terms of the brutality and meanness that they present. But in terms of dishonesty, I think that one side has got, by and far, the biggest fucking head start and the biggest fucking ownership of lying about this issue.
True.
And that is the trans rights advocates. It just is, from what I can see. You know, like I look at, like, say, J.K. Rowling, okay? And I'm told that J.K. Rowling is like a big bad person who denies the Holocaust, right? And then I go and look at what J.K. Rowling has said. And I'm like, where is J.K. Rowling denying the Holocaust exactly?
Okay, that's wonderful.
Like, it's...
Listen, I can't confidently state for 100%, but I'm like 99% sure that the Holocaust denial shit is completely bogus. And it's mostly to do with her saying about trans people in the Holocaust. Which isn't even denial, because, I mean, who was the main target of the Holocaust? Probably the Jews, I don't know. So, like, surely denying a smaller group's, like, involvement in that, like, how can that be denial? It's not Holocaust overall denial. It doesn't even make sense.
How do I make
She's
money?
not. She's not denying the Holocaust like you're trying to
They
claim,
lie to
you know?
themselves constantly when they look in the mirror. Are we that surprised?
Thank you very much for the 333.
And listen, it's all very well people like this saying it, but like trans people have to like stand up and say this shit as well, that we're also sick of the lies. That supposedly is for our benefit, but is actually just making stuff worse.
GCs are the brutal ones, meanwhile we're the ones getting death and rape threats. Okay, look. Okay. Just to be clear.
It happens on both sides. Just get used to it. Fucking call it a meme all you want. Oh, you're both siding it. It happens on both sides.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the trans rights advocates are not capable of sending death and rape threats, okay? I was actually trying to make a supportive point in saying that when it comes to like truths of the issue, I see far more lies and dishonesty coming out of the trans advocate side than I do out of the other side, okay? Like, the point I was trying to make is to juxtapose that the gender critical people have got a propensity to be very mean, but they tend to address things more honestly than the other side does, okay? But that doesn't mean that the other side isn't sending rape threats, okay? I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Anyway, the truth hurts. Okay, but...
I'm noticing Chud uses Kick as well. I kind of, every now and then, I wonder if I should try doing like 3 streams, like having one on Kick as well. But I'm not sure. I don't know what kind of audience it is. So.
Okay, Can we just stop the cap with this, okay? I get it, right? That the truth hurts and stuff.
J.K. Rowling doesn't deny the Holocaust. It's like these people never read or understood Harry Potter. She just, the Holocaust stuff seems to be to do with some like comments she made about trans people in the Holocaust. And I don't know of that much evidence that like the Holocaust like included that many trans people, like if they were even really a target of it, you know? That's where the denial of the Holocaust comes in. She's not even talking about like the Jews, which is like what people normally are talking about when they talk about the Holocaust. Like a Holocaust denier is typically saying 6 million people weren't killed, like maybe about 60,000 or something. That'd be much more Holocaust denial. She's maybe denying like, I don't know, about 1,000 people, I guess. Yeah, J.K. Rowling was saying trans people weren't the main victims or even primary victims. They weren't homosexual. Yeah, which I've heard from other places. I'm not 100% saying that I know that's true. I don't even know why, because it's probably bullshit, I know that. But yeah, it's ridiculous.
Stuff, okay? But there's a difference between the truth being, you're a biological male, and just leaving it at that, okay? And then finding... Now, have I been guilty of this? Yeah, sure. Am I being a hypocrite? Perhaps. Okay, right? Of finding the ugliest possible image that you can of someone and going, male, 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 male. It's like, okay, right? Can you just accept being mean? You're mean, okay? Just own it.
I'm extremely triggered by him doing that, by the way.
Right? You're mean to a point of excess that isn't needed to make the point you're trying to make. Right? That's all I'm trying to say. Surely you can accept that. Maybe they shouldn't have posted it. Okay. Yeah, see, Ali gets it, right? Oh my God, thank you. Thank God we got some common sense turfs in chat, right? Yeah, you look like Buffalo Bill. And someone goes, oh, looks like the truth hurts.
Okay, we get further on. I don't know how long he argues with chat.
Be a clip of it somewhere. Honestly, Dawn Bundy. Okay, no racism, no racism, no racism, no racism, okay? No racism, no racism. Can't seem to find it though. That's weird. Oh well. No, come on, I can't. Anyway, what did they say here? The UK Conservative press is going after me for helping to discredit the Cass review. I'm right on target. They know the review disregarded most of the...
He's right on target for spreading bullshit, I guess. Yeah, great.
...evidence. Most. That's not what most means. Oh my God. They're still lying! They're still...
Bring back being mean, yes. I would rather people just called me like a tranny and shit than like talked around it the way people do when they want to be like hateful, but like, yeah. You'll probably do alright on Kick. They'll get clickbaited, assuming the worst, and hear your take. Yeah, I do wonder, like, I don't get as much on Twitch as I do on YouTube, and I guess partly that's because I put my YouTube videos on YouTube. I didn't really do much with Twitch except stream to it, and I only really use it because I already had one from years and years ago when I tried it doing something completely different. But yeah, I might try one day. I could do a 3 stream, you know.
Still lying to their audience. They're literally still lying, saying most. It's not most. That's not what most means. The evidence was influenced by the anti-trans group SEGM.
Because like that's the thing, like some people do kind of come in like, I think they're expecting me to get like baited or like phased by the transphobic shit. And then sometimes they kind of chill when they realize that I don't actually care that much. And, you know, not all of us are that uptight, you know.
I stand by what I said. Her tweets were contradicted by the publication of the Cash review hours later. You hate to see it. I think it's a sign of how cordoned off certain folks are that she's tweeting this like it makes her look good. Yeah, true. Anyway, let's watch the funny video about Alejandro, and then maybe we'll get on to Erin Reed. Where is it? This is it.
Member of the subcommittee, Ms. Mace.
This is played at least once on my stream before, but like this is important viewing. This is like one of my favorite videos of all time by a long way.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I agree about social media and the comments say about it being an extremist recruitment tool, but I see it, I believe, from both sides of the aisle. Threats to our democracy come from those who seek to undermine our Constitution and our 3 branches of government. We've got to take a stand to support the Constitution and the rule of law against those who debase our society with violence or harassment of government officials carrying out their constitutional...
This person is Nancy Mace, and she's talking about the use of, like, social media to spread, like, violent rhetoric, basically.
...duties, for example. I have a few simple yes or no questions I would like to ask the panelists today. My first one is, do you believe that rhetoric, that rhetoric is a way to inflict harm on our democracy? People's words. Mr. Ward, yes or no?
Yes.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Ms. Caraballo?
Yes.
This is Oscar Namani.
Yes or no?
That's that person, by the way, Ms. Caraballo.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Tyler? Ms. McCord?
Yes.
Is rhetoric on social media a problem and a threat to our democracy, Mr. Ward?
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Ms. Caraballo?
Yes.
Ms. Nomani?
Yes.
Ms. Tyler?
Yes.
Another question I have, do you believe that rhetoric targeting officials with violence for carrying out their constitutional duties is a threat to democracy, Mr. Ward? Mr. Siegel?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Only a few weeks after the attempted attack on a Supreme Court justice on June 25th, one of the witnesses, Alejandra Caraballo, tweeted out the following in response to a decision on abortion overturning Roe v. Wade, and I'll quote directly from the tweet. The 6 justices who overturned Roe should never know peace again. It is our civic duty to accost them every time they're...
There's something about like the tweet being like blown up big and put up there. Like, that's like just like the ultimate like karma for this dumb fucking person.
in public. They are pariahs. Since women don't have their rights, these justices should never have a peaceful moment in public again.
One thing I love that we just don't have over in the UK. I know that Americans love some of our aspects of our political system. I love the fact that you motherfuckers bring out a big board with a tweet on, and that's just, you're like, oh, it's just a comically oversized blow up of a tweet to own someone. That is absolutely fucking based, and it's something I wish we could have over here. Look at it, it's so big. Look at the state of it.
I know something about being accosted. The night of January 5th, I was physically accosted on the streets of DC in Navy Yard by a constituent of mine. I fervently blamed rhetoric on social media, rhetoric at public events, for being physically accosted. I carry a gun everywhere I go when I am in my district and I'm at home, because I know personally that rhetoric has...
Yeah, she's such a feminist, right? Making females fear for their lives. Yeah, great job, bro.
Consequences. I've had my car keyed. I've had my house spray painted. I had someone trespass in my house as recently as August. I've been doxxed on social media about where I live. And I've had to add to security everywhere I go. Often, because I can't afford it, I have to carry my own firearm wherever I go. And Alejandra Caraballo also recently tweeted on November 19th, not even a month ago, that the Supreme Court vested with the judicial power of the United States by our Constitution.
Oh, and there's like multiple ones. I forgot about that.
Stated they are not a legitimate court issuing decisions. And also the Supreme Court is an organ of the far right. So my last question today of Ms. Caraballo, do you stand by these comments, this kind of rhetoric on social media? And do you believe it's a threat to democracy?
Thank you, Representative, for the opportunity to clarify. And
Listen to the tone of voice and the way she talks compared to like the tweets. How like meek these people are when actually in person, I come across this shit over and over.
provide context to my tweets.
Dude. I mean, wait, no.
Yeah, she's not even reading the room. She wants a yes or no question.
I mean, just, hey, dude, just generally, not to this person. This is a woman, as far as I'm concerned, okay? No further questions required.
Question is a yes or no. Do you believe your rhetoric is a threat to democracy when you're calling to accost a branch of government, the Supreme Court?
I don't believe that's a correct characterization of my statements.
Did you not tweet that? That you thought that the Supreme Court justices should be
like stuttering and like obviously nervous and stuff. Like, where was this energy there? Where's this energy now? It's crazy. She hasn't learned from any of this, obviously.
Accosted.
To approach and speak to, often in a challenging and aggressive way. I mean, it's fucking open and shut, dude. It's a civic duty to approach them and speak to, often in a challenging or aggressive way, every time they're in public. I mean, what?
Want the widest selection of games? You're on. Unibet has hundreds of top quality, exhilarating.
What happened to freedom of speech? I mean, this person, I don't believe that this person is saying that they don't have a right to say this. I believe what this individual is saying is, you claim that online rhetoric is dangerous, yet what about your online rhetoric?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, it's pretty obvious the point that...
But there's always a special, like, there's a special excuse, like, already there and waiting, which she's not going to say to this person, but, like, they think they're in the right. They think they're on the right side of history, so they basically believe they can do whatever they want, so, hey.
Trying to make, and they're not saying, we're going to arrest you for saying this. They're saying, you claim A is bad, and yet you do A. Very simple hypocrisy argument, okay? And also, yeah, God, do you know what? I do feel like being a Linsky pilled is the best way to go forward with this stuff, because these people don't care about free speech at all.
Hey, sorry, my partner just got home. Alright, here we go.
At all. They use it as a
Yeah, they are freedom fighters, just like MLK. That's completely correct.
cudgel when it benefits them. And then they cry out for its protection. It's the fucking Frank Herbert quote. They use it as a cudgel when it benefits them and cry out for its protection for defensive purposes. It's fucking repeated with these people, you know? They want to shut down the speech of others constantly, right? Alexandra was one of the biggest fucking people that was trying to push for the shutdown of fucking Kiwi farms, for fuck's sake. They were on board with the anti-Kiwi farms campaign.
Oh, that's another thing.
And yet we've got
the Kiwi farms shit. I need to look more into that as well. Like, Keffel's got covered so much right around the time that I started. And like, I didn't really want to go over like all of her shit myself, but I think the Stop Kiwi Farms thing as a movement, it would be good to like go through that. I think it's time to be on the wrong side of history, because being on the right side of history makes it constantly repeat or rhyme. Well, I mean, the problem we have is that everyone thinks they're on the right side of history. Like, Adolf Hitler would have thought he was on the right side of history. Donald Trump, whether you agree or disagree with him, Joe Biden, you know, everyone. So the problem is when people get this convinced of it and they're willing to lie to make their shit sound good, you know? It's a bit like the Vorsh thing. I think wasn't that a big bone of contention between Vorsh and Destiny, was the fact that Destiny wasn't so comfortable like lying for the left's like ends, you know, whereas someone like Vorsh very much is.
oh, but what about their free speech? I'm sick of this shit. Make people live by their own fucking principles. That's what you need to do. They've got no integrity at all.
What I'm
you
saying
tweet
is
that
that
yes
that
or
is
no?
not an
Did you tweet
accurate characterization of my statements.
On June 8th of this year, a man was arrested near Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home in Maryland. He told law enforcement officers he wanted to kill a Supreme Court justice. He was found with a knife, with a pistol, 2 magazines, ammunition, pepper spray, zip ties, a hammer, crowbar, and duct tape. The threats that members of Congress, the threats that branches of government face on the left and the right.
I mean, that's kind of based now. I'm so good.
By the chairman.
Being fucking red, I love it. I love it. Every fucking violent idiot fucking activist type that posts this kind of stuff, this is what should happen to them. Like, sit them down like children in detention and fucking lecture them about this shit. Because they know what they're doing and they know that it's wrong. But they've got their own benefit, you know? I'm sure Alejandra Caraballo probably eats decently well off of the work that she does to spread complete bullshit and to twist trans people's minds up until they fucking become mush, you know?
Earlier in the committee hearing, what happened to the speaker's husband is every member's worst nightmare. So it's clear to me that we have to call out the threats to our democracy emanating from wherever they come, whether it's the right or the left. It is incumbent upon every one of us to call it out on both sides of the political spectrum and recommit ourselves to the Constitution and the rule of law. I look forward to working with anyone, Republican or Democrat, as you know, Mr. Chairman, to address these threats from within and without. And I look forward to inviting more people who actually...
They got absolutely fucking owned, didn't they, eh? Didn't they get owned? They got absolutely fucking wrecked. Okay, what is this? Cash review misinformation update. Mallory Moore.
I know who Mallory Moore is. They're another one of those trans activists who are always tweeting about this kind of shit. You sort of ask mild questions and they get very irritable very, very quickly. Yeah, you know, partisan, hack, fuck. Like all of them. Like, they're all the same person. I'm sure if you look through their work, it's probably not easy to distinguish them. Like, if you copied and pasted, let's say they both wrote an article about the Cass report around the same time. You copy and pasted both of them, I bet it'd be very difficult to tell who was who.
Mallory Moore actually beat they beat Alejandra Caraballo.
Oh, it wasn't Mia Mulder. I was thinking of someone else. That's a trans YouTuber I haven't watched before. So yeah.
By 2 hours in tweeting false claims about the Cash review before it came out. But each of them shares responsibility for the subsequent misinformation storm. Breaking. Have now been leaked details about the Cash review that makes it clear the anti-trans activists who are put in the anti-trans activists.
Yeah, this is how they write this shit all the time. Not just her. This person is exactly the same as everyone else just like her, with just plenty of fucking people. And like, look, only they reply, follow or mention can reply. It's like so fucking cowardly. They don't want pushback. And they're not going to engage with it anyway. And this is the kind of person who just fucking spurgs out if you ask them any questions, instead of like trying to justify their positions and stuff. They just get really funny with you and like start insulting you or like what the fuck ever. Because they're that fucking entrenched with the cult belief that they can't see anything else, and everything else makes them angry.
That were put in charge of systematic reviews by Cass.
Allowed to disregard all but one piece of research on trans healthcare. What the fuck was this person on?
These are random fucking weenies from York University.
Do you think what they did was like take a picture of like the cast review, give it to an AI to make like an image of, and then the AI like moves all the letters around because it doesn't understand English, like how you get on like AI things. And maybe that's what she went off? I don't know. This is completely insane. Anti-trans activist researcher. Like, anti-trans, this is what I really want to get in people's heads. Anti-trans means fucking nothing. It means whatever they want it to mean. It's the enemy, it's the other side, it's whatever they want it to mean. And they will call everyone who has any at all anti-trans positions, even if it's, I'm not sure I think trans women should be in women's sports. You're then anti-trans.
Probably, what is it called? They study the science of doing medicine. What's that called? Like they're some random fucking nerds. Statistical nerds or some shit, probably. Medical statistical nerds that are just sat in York University. Oh, hey, can you just look at this pile of studies? Use the scale to figure out if they're good or not and tell us what overall they say. Yeah, sure, no problem. Oh, looks like there's not much good information here. Oh, anti-trans, anti-trans, anti-trans. We're at the point now where people who are just doing their fucking job, who are just following orders, okay? People are just doing their job of assessing medical information to figure out if it's good or not, are now anti-trans activists. This is fucking insane, bro. What's happened to the world? What's happened to common sense and decency? And
all this surprise that he has, seemingly. I guess that's more normal if you're a normie. To me, this is like the most, bitterly unsurprising thing ever. I'm not surprised at all at what these people have been up to.
Fucking normal shit. We're allowed, look, who are put in charge of systematic reviews by CAS are allowed to disregard all but one piece of research on trans healthcare. That's a lie. That is just a lie. This person is lying. They're saying wrong things about something. What the fuck? I'm telling you guys, this is what happened, okay? These hardline, super pro-trans activists.
Maybe words are always weaponized by groups who are lacking in defense. Yeah, you gotta go on the attack. You gotta attack the other person. Not their arguments, them as a person. It's what I get in my comments, like, all the time. I'll just get people being like, oh, you're obviously a pick-me, or like, you're obviously hating yourself or something because you're attacking your own. I'm not attacking my own. These fucking people aren't my own. They're the problem to me. Like, fuck you.
Got wind that the CAS report was going to be...
But yeah, they do it because they don't have fucking anything to say about anything I actually say, because what I'm saying is true. And I get to watch through fucking philosophy tube videos that say next to nothing, or just start from the position of, I'm right, how do I prove it? And it's like, this isn't good enough. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have any arguments. Like, what are you talking about? It's so fucking transparent.
Be bad for them because of the things that it said, okay? And rather than just address it openly, fairly, accurately, they immediately spun up the spin doctor machine and were like, how can we spin this? Oh yeah, well, they got rid of all but one report. They got rid of, do you know what I mean? They were putting out information to get ahead of it, to debunk the report with misinformation before it even came out. In summary, an anti-trans activist researcher whose involvement in
Pick-me is such a toxic thing to call someone anyway. Yeah, I agree. I think they're the pick-me's, if anything, because they clearly want picking by their own side. They're, trans activist friends, whereas I don't really care about that. But in their small minds, they can only think, oh, you must be trying to impress someone else. I don't know who I'm trying to impress, quite frankly. I'm just trying to put my thoughts and feelings out there. And, if people listen, then great. But, yeah, they have to assign some kind of evil design as to what you're doing, because they can't think of a way of it being otherwise. They can't think of a way where I'm genuinely a trans person who thinks the way I do, because they're just that small-minded. So, I'll talk about these people, but I don't honestly give a shit what they think, because anyone that actually gives a shit about the issues that I'm talking about and disagrees with me would provide some disagreement. They'd provide some kind of issues they have with specific things I've said. You know what I mean?
Lobbying groups against trans healthcare is not declared as a competing interest. Following a practice of eliminating inconvenient evidence with other authors' claims there's no evidence of its efficacy. Fuck me, man, that's crazy. Mallory Moore tweeted a false claim that okay. Mr. Pronoun Respecter over here. That the CAS review did disregard all but one study at 11:36 a.m. Alejandra Caraballo tweeted a false claim that CAS disregarded all non-randomized control trials at 1:49 p.m. Eastern. Recall that Caraballo tweeted wait, what? What is this? Recall that Alejandra Caraballo tweeted the wrong systemic literature review Instead of screenshotting the new lit reviews from the University of York that were published simultaneously with the CAS review, she leaked an image of the 2020 NICE review. Wait, what? Is this
TLDR of the CAS review. Listen, trans people love this, okay? We fucking love to do this. We take whatever someone said, twist it up into the worst version of itself, and then use quotes. Quotes are what you use when you're quoting something directly. This isn't what quotes are used for, but they pretend it is, when actually they're completely changing the meaning. We disregarded nearly all studies because they weren't double-blind controlled studies. We stopped reviewing newer studies released in the last 2 years. Like, this is an impossible standard. Well, the problem is, does that mean that we should put people's like futures and shit on bad evidence that isn't control tested in a lot of ways? You know what I mean?
It's true. I saw this getting shared around by loads of fucking trans people. Is this true? They shared just a screenshot of something else. Wait, what? No way. Is that true? I thought it was just they said that.
It wouldn't surprise me, but the thing is, they can do that because these idiots are going to believe anything these people say, because these people are held in high regard. And if I can, like, knock these kind of people, like, down even one peg, then that's something, because they don't deserve to be where they are, and they're lying to get where they are.
They lied about the fact they disregard nearly all studies. TLDR of the CAS review, we disregarded nearly all studies because they weren't double-blinded control studies. We also stopped reviewing newer studies released in the last years. As a result, we left with very little evidence. This is an impossible standard.
And these people, like, complain about bad faith, by the way. They're, like, the most bad faith motherfuckers, like, out there. Projection on them. Yeah, exactly. So much of this shit is projection. It's the same with, like, Donald Trump, I find. Often you can see, like, what his real intentions are, or very much seem to be, based on what he's saying, you know, stuff like stop the steal. Who was actually trying to steal? It's the same shit here, you know? Constantly, like, I'm not saying, she didn't say fucking bad faith here, but you get called bad faith fucking constantly when they're the kind of people doing this shit constantly. It's, like, ridiculous. It's as if people don't think that people will notice, but then they're trying to appeal to extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, vulnerable people. Vulnerable and not necessarily very intelligent people, because they're the ones that get fucking snared in, you know? Pick me is just a lame insult. I think most trans women are just numb to it. You're a pick me, whatever. Yeah, it's the same shit. People have been saying this shit, or talking around saying this shit for years and years and years, and trans, like, arguments haven't evolved, like, at all, because we don't talk to other people. We don't, like, debate with gender criticals, you know? So that's just what's happened. Like, it's been the same shit for years. Like, these people have been, like, haranguing fucking J.K. Rowling for, like, 4 years straight, if not longer. I can't remember when exactly she came out with the stuff she was coming out with.
Just a fucking lie. Just a lie. Maybe some people are just resigned to this because of the narrative. It's just like, what is going on, man? This is absolutely absurd.
And hey, plenty of people are okay with lying. They don't listen to the trans people that aren't okay with lying, because we don't get heard. We get fucking shouted down because the other trans people think that defending them is what's in their best interest. So, hey, it gets to a point where it's like, I need to deprogram these people before I can even have a conversation with them, but I'm not a deprogrammer. Like, I make music, like, fucking hell, you know. I didn't realize the kind of skills you need in order to really, like, crack the walnut or whatever we're saying, you know.
Do these people have got any credibility whatsoever when they're just liars? Mallory Moore's tweet got 200k views and is responsible for the general false claim that the review disregarded almost all studies. Responsible for the specific false claim that CAS discarded all non-RCTs. Jesus. So Mallory Moore and Alejandra Caraballo were communally responsible for the two major false claims about the CAS review that were circulated and led an angry Dr. Cass to announcement interviews to the BBC and elsewhere. Wait a second. So Alejandra Caraballo publishes false information about something that then leads to Cass getting unreasonable attention and criticism and shit, to the point where they can't travel on public transport. And then Hilary Cass goes, I can't travel on public transport because of all this shit. And then Alejandra Caraballo goes, stop making yourself the victim, when they were the person that
Oh my God. Imagine if it was the other way around. Jesus Christ.
perpetuated some of the initial, most damaging false claims about the study. Isn't that fucking insane? Oh my God, that's unbelievable. Well, it is believable, I guess.
What other scenarios can a male, like, go after a female like that, you know?
Right, anyway, guys, speaking of Kiwi Farms, we're going to take a step back towards Aaron Reed.
Hey, here we go. Erin Reed. I've shat on her so many times and really never meaningfully spoken about her or like looked at that much of her shit. So here we go.
So this is another person who has been a vector of spread.
Chasing the Dragon. Hey, Chud is the most base streamer out there. I really like Chud Logic. Pretty much him, Destiny, and Queeman are the only ones I watch. I watched a couple of Kidology videos recently that I really liked. I haven't really watched her before. But yeah, Chud is really good.
Misinformation. Erin Reed.
Okay,
they were on the
wonderful.
Majority
But
Report and I
how do
covered
I
it.
make money off depressed people.
Hey, thank you for the $2. We go to Fresh's Proton X on H3. Maybe. Maybe on Friday when I'm back, possibly. We'll see. Shigami Eyes was
Join 32 Red and get a welcome bonus up to £150. Play incredible.
made by
Shigami Eyes, that's one of the ones that like red names people who were like unsafe accounts for trans people to like, I don't even know what unsafe means in the context of Twitter. I think that's ridiculous, first of all. But like, I can't remember which. It was either that one or Soup Can. Like, I'm literally like a red name. Like, I am a trans person, but I guess I'm not a safe place for trans people. Like, it's so fucking dodgy. He cancelled his stream early for emergency, so it's all this. Fair enough. Yeah, we're going over the, he went over Alejandro Caraballo and Erin Reed. I'm going over that because I'm gonna have to get into a lot more of this kind of stuff. I talk about like kind of lies and shit that you see in trans communities, so.
Oh, Lorelei Bailey. I've heard that name before. That is a fucking rabbit hole, though.
I remember fucking, what was it, Wesley or Lorelei Bailey, and they were like literally like a rapist or something. This was from ages ago. I don't know what he's going to show. I have seen this video. I can't remember what he shows. This Lorelei Bailey person is fucking nuts. They're like a prehistoric kind of transsexual freak, if that makes sense. All kinds of weird stories about her. I think I knew about her from Encyclopedia Dramatica, of all places.
Right, I need to get into that. Erin Reed defends a misrepresentation of the systemic literature review about cross-sex hormones in a tweet thread, in which she cites as evidence the wrong study. The screenshot she provides is from the puberty blocker review paper, not the hormone paper. Oh no. Erin Reed says she is right. The authors of the systemic literature review on cross-sex hormones did throw out all but one study. This is false. They analysed all 53 papers, but for synthesis, they excluded 19 low-quality studies, leaving 34. One cohort study was high quality. Other studies were moderate and low quality. Dude. Bro, they're just making it up as they go along. What is going on with these fucking freaks, dude? Liars and fucking scoundrels, a lot of them. Erin Reed is an interesting case, which we're going to get into now, okay? Anyway, let's get into this. Let's have a look. So, guys, in light of Erin Reed's assault on Kiwi farms, I was quite interested to have a look and see what it is that they've got on Erin Reed over there. So I thought we'd open it up, have a look. Obviously,
The Insane 101. Pick me is valid among some other leftist terms. I don't really know what valid means anymore. Problem is the left was misuse these words so much they were in the terms reps. Blame the users of the words, not the words themselves. Well, the thing is, if a word gets so like poisoned in that way, then you kind of have to blame the word as well. Like, at a certain point, I think a word has been used to the point and misused to the point where it's like become ridiculous, if that makes sense. It's good to see you. Thanks for your comment.
I do need to be careful, TOS. But I picked out a few things that I think are interesting to have a little conversation about. So let's get into it. So most of this is just tweets that they've posted themselves. So let's have a look. So this is the first thing here. We'll get to egg IRL, don't worry. Trans people owe nobody disclosure. Nobody. The idea that trans women have to tell people they sleep with that they're trans is transphobic as hell. What is it about online...
We lie to people that we sleep with? I don't know about that. And that's like very unsafe. Like someone finds a penis where they're not expecting someone to be. Like that's literally where the gay panic defense comes from. And yeah, it's wrong. But you shouldn't put yourself in those situations at the same time.
Trans activists, where they have wedded themselves, I use that word with intent in this case, to the worst possible arguments and points that they can make. Why do they constantly fucking push the most insane shit? Why not just have reasonable positions on stuff? And 10 years ago, 15 years ago, people were transsexuals. You didn't have this shit. You didn't have this shit going on in this big fucking discourse about it, you know? But now we do. And, you know, part of it is fucking rightoids and their culture war shit, but also it's people that are pushing it insane in the other direction too. If anything, people who don't believe trans women are women should have to disclose that to potential partners. Some trans women choose to disclose out of safety, and that's great and 100% valid. But putting the onus on a trans woman and or blaming her for violence caused at her for not disclosing is shameful victim blaming. That mentality needs to die.
Do people even blame someone in that case? Do they not say that that was a factor as to why they did it? You can say that someone was not being very, they were being reckless or whatever. You can say that without blaming them for the death when the death was still caused by someone else. You know what I mean? Or violence or whatever.
I just completely it's just so obvious that you should just say. Because
you're like just staking out an insane position and then giving the other position to try and like justify it. But it's like stupid. I don't know. It's just why do that? Why are people like Erin so against telling partners they're trans? Gives the impression they're ashamed to be trans. Yeah, potentially. I don't know. I'm very open about my trans status because people are gonna realize sooner or later anyway. I mean, it's not an issue in that way anymore, even though I don't date anyway, so it's fine. But like, I don't know what the fascination is. We have this thing like, oh, we don't owe you disclosure. We don't owe you this. It's not my job to educate you, which I think is ridiculous. I do try and educate people. Super dangerous. Everyone needs to be honest when it comes to yeah, exactly. Like who lies about their fucking STD status? You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't be quiet about that, surely, if you're a responsible person. I lie about everything when I'm dating. 6'5", 100+K, yeah. Stable genius, 9-inch dick, no history of a hypnol possession. Based.
Okay. I'm so cocked, man. I need to do a Rumble stream one day to really cut loose with my perspectives, just to be 100%, okay?
I should do that as well. I would love to do a stream where I can like say the kind of things that I always stop myself from saying. Listen, there isn't any, okay? I'm not a Nazi or anything. The narcissism is the thing that gets me always. Yeah, there's so much narcissism in trans spaces. It's unreal. And I think that's why it's very individualistic. And a lot of these people, when they argue, they don't resolve anything because they both are just concerned with their own feelings, really. That's what I tend to see anyway.
Annoying. As much, and this is why I think this narrative that's been pushed of trans women is so...
Hey, the viewership is slowly going up. I love it. I love you all. Please like the stream, though. You should like the stream. Thanks.
Annoying, because it's like, trans women are trans women, and it's reasonable for all parties to be informed. If you want to approach it from just purely a pragmatic safety issue, okay, then that's fine. But also, it's reasonable that the other party might want to know that that's the case. Because regardless of whatever you want to characterize yourself as, some people are not going to be interested in having a relationship, sexual or otherwise, with a biological male. And that's fine. That's totally acceptable. And I would presume that a trans person does not want to engage in a relationship.
Listen, do you want to know the way I did it when I dated online, when I eventually met Charlie? Like, I was honest in my fucking profile that it said that I said that I was trans. Partly because I didn't really want to waste other people's time that are just not into trans people. And partly because I didn't want my time wasted, getting my hopes up around someone I might really like, but then they find out I'm trans later and it doesn't work anymore, In the UK, you need to be aware of trans, that you can be arrested for sex by deception if you do lie. Fair enough, yeah, like, never been an issue for me and it never will be, but yeah, we shouldn't encourage other people to lie, absolutely. And we shouldn't encourage people to sort of cope about their own, like, sex, Because that's what we're doing. Like, oh, you don't want to tell someone that you're born male. Like, I understand that, but when it comes to these kind of things, you have to be a lot more sensible. Okay. Rare UKW, yeah, thumbs up. Thank you, Jan. Anyway, let's keep going.
With someone who does not want to have a relationship with a biological male. And so there you go, you're not fucking for each other. So disclose it, discuss it, move on, go your separate ways,
Yeah, no one owes you to fancy trans people. I don't know. Me, if someone says I don't want to fuck trans people, I'd be like, okay, fair enough, see ya then. If that's what I was looking for. It's not difficult. You don't have to fucking soy out every time the slightest transphobia happens.
And that is like such a reasonable position that most people are going to be like, yeah, that's cool. That's the way that you do it. But they turn it into this insane argument that no, you don't have to say anything actually.
Why do SJWs consider transphobes? They want to date trans people. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Let's trans SJWs dodge a bullet. Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. I don't want to get into that awkward fucking encounter where it's been 3 times and we're getting on amazingly, but then I mention that I'm trans and suddenly it's, oh shit. You know what I mean? I just don't want to deal with that. Like, if I really like someone especially, because that would hurt, you know, that would suck.
You know, particularly, and I think it's particularly important when it's quite dicey situations, like, you know, this whole argument of the lesbian thing. What, you know, what is it? I can't remember what it's called. What is it? Lavender Menace, or is that something else? Is that some other thing? But like, some lesbians are not going to want to engage in a relationship with a biological male, and that's fine. And why would you want to deceive someone? Why would you want to do something that's going to end up deceiving them? Just fucking say it how it is. Yeah, this is who I am. Oh, that's fine. I'm cool with that. Or, oh, actually, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's pretty clear now. I've thought about it a bit more. People want to cope over their sex. They are embarrassed about what they actually are to a certain extent, and they know that it's not necessarily going to go down very well, so they put it off. That doesn't mean they should do it, and it definitely doesn't mean that people with fucking clout, people who are respected for whatever reason, I don't know why, because they tell people what they want to hear, that doesn't mean that those kind of people should be pushing these kind of attitudes. And like, we love entitlement. Like, entitlement is like fucking catnip for trans people. We love a bit of that.
In that. Boom, there we go, move along. There's a whole bunch of reasons that you're not going to be compatible with someone, you know? And that's like the granular level of dating that you get to discuss and you get to engage in. And there's some stuff that's obvious. And look, I've always said that having a preference is something that is quietly thought and engaged with, not something you loudly proclaim. You know, you don't loudly proclaim that you've got a preference for X, Y. Like, what I'm trying to get across is, if you don't want to date a black person, that's fine. You don't have to date a black person.
Chaser Logic. Oh, hi Phobia, how you doing? Yeah, I do like a bit of Chaser Logic. I'm doing this in the hope that he'll chase me, if you get me.
Okay? That doesn't mean that you should go around proclaiming loudly, I don't date blacks, I don't date blacks, I don't date blacks, I don't date blacks, right? But at the granular level of dating, you'll know that. And in that situation, you'll be able to tell by looking at someone. And you'll be able to go, right, not for me, you know? And it's the same situation here. The problem is, you may not always be able to tell. In some cases, you know, people might argue about that, but, you know, just for the sake of clarity, make that clear. Everyone can decide and then move forward accordingly. And everyone's happy, you know? Why not say what you believe? Because dating is a very personal thing, isn't it? It's a very personal activity that you engage in between you and be round up into.
We've done
This month, get 10 free spins on Wanted Unusual Suspects, only at William Hill, Vegas.
The capture will be
neat.
Press people.
Okay, anyway. Sounds like something a fetishist would say. Oh.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Such the Richard Bigger. Thank you very much for the €2. A heterosexual is going to be rounded up into capture will be alarmed.
Post-op trans women exist. You can still like disclose it though. Like, they'll be around you a little while, they might hear your voice or like notice your hands and feet are big or like what the fuck ever, you know?
That's a tough one to
like, if you're a post-op trans woman and you don't want to disclose, then that's fine, but like if it becomes a problem down the line, that's your fucking fault for lying, ultimately. The thing with like pre-op trans women is more dangerous and is more likely to get you into actual like physical trouble, you know?
Head around, to be honest. I'd never blame someone for violence against them. Here comes that B word. But if I were in that position, I feel like I'd want to have the talk calmly rather than have some shock surprise in the heat of the moment. Dude, it's so fun, dude. Just say it how it is, okay? Just say it how it is, okay? When I get home with a lady after a day...
It's just so fucking obvious, but they'll just die on this hill. It's like seeing like tomfoolery or like Stardust arguing something. Well, they'll just autistically like stick to this like ridiculously inane point. I think for some it's a power trip as well, probably. Some trans people, I think, like surprise deception for some odd reason, because they think it's a lesson to people to accept them no matter what. Maybe, yeah. I mean, often you get trans people that think they have a lot to teach other people and nothing to learn from other people for some reason. We seem to be fostering that kind of mentality a lot, and it's not a good one at all.
Hey, right? I want to know what I'm going to be tucking into, okay? Listen, we need to know what's going on. What game are we playing? Come on now. You know? There's
a guy bullying lesbians who don't date trans women, and when asked if he would sleep with anyone himself, he said, trans women are women except for relationship purposes. Jesus Christ. That's crazy. That sounds about right, though, to be honest. Like, the average, like, ally.
We don't want to play the crying game. Exactly. We don't want to play the crying game necessarily, all right?
I mean, why don't we name some, like, known trans allies who are, like, cis men? Vorsh, Tipster, Alec Gunter, Xander Howell. It's not amazing company any people like that are in, you know?
What's going on down there? And it doesn't have to be explicit or weird, you know? Oh my God. Just fucking let's talk about what's going on. You not tell beforehand. Most of the time, yeah. But then, you know...
Alan Joyce talked in this video and tweeted another video about her. I don't know if you've seen it already. I haven't watched too much. I've seen the odd thing with Helen Joyce in it, but not that one. I try not to get too much of like the GC perspective, like here and there. But broadly, I agree with most of it. And like, I'm really not trying to just repeat the same shit. You know what I mean?
There is a point there. Okay. Should we address the post-op cope? Are we gonna go there? I don't know, personally, as much as the fucking memes abound. I literally don't know, okay, personally. Maybe there's someone in chat that might be able to attest to this. Neo-vaginas. Thoughts, etc.? The point I'm trying to make is, I think it's reasonable that you would want to know if you're dealing with... How do I put this in a way that doesn't get me banned? You know, it's like, there isn't a way, there isn't a way. Stop, dude. No, Cactus, no, that Poppy tweet is disgusting.
Okay, that's wonderful.
I've had good reviews on the taste. Oh!
Chud, back in my day it was easy, no race mixing, no gays, no trans. Everyone was labeled, no mistakes, you know?
Thank you very much for the 333. How do I put this? 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 Very simply, it's reasonable to want to know if you're dealing with a bio-vag or a neo-vag. Done. Simple. Job done. There we go. That's it. It's as simple as that, okay? Say what you want about what you think about the situation, but it's reasonable that you'd want to know. And if maybe you're not into the neo-vag, you can say, no, thank you. And that's it. Everyone's happy. Everyone's fine, okay? You've got to accept that your experience dating as a trans person is not going to be the same, much like the rest of your life, as engaging in dating as someone that isn't trans. It's just not. It's just the reality of the situation.
It's true.
Okay? It just, that's the way it is. I don't know how else to put it. Post-op trans women exist, and for many, a shock surprise moment would not even happen. But the thing is like, even with that, some people do not want to have anything relationship-wise with a biological person that is presenting as a different thing. Like, they're just not going to want to do that. And like, is that not okay? Like, I know it's an old conversation at this point, but it's like, that's fine. That's totally fine. Everyone can engage in that, be happy with that, and move forward.
People's preferences and their consent ultimately, like, have to take precedent over whatever else. Like, if someone doesn't give you consent, you shouldn't fuck them, right? That should be obvious, you know?
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Thank you for the $2. Would you rather have a neo-vag or a girl dick? If I transition...
Listen, if it's a neo-vag versus a phalloplasty, then it's neo-vag all the way, trust me.
The original plumbing remains.
The queer key, all the people in gay bars, I haven't covered her, I really need to, she seems deranged. Said that people have no excuses for not dating post-op trans people. Well, anyone's preference is an excuse. Like, these people are insane. Even aside from trans versus cis genitals. People care about having children too. Yeah, true, of course. Yeah.
Okay, that's all I'm going to say on the matter. All right?
And here's the thing, by the way. Almost none of these people actually have children. Like, I don't have children. I don't know of many of these trans figures. Fucking nominal Naomi, I guess. One or two others. Most of them don't have any kids.
Okay, moving swiftly on. Okay, I didn't mean to put this one in. I criticised the person for sharing it earlier.
It is never too late. Listen, if I ever make a post like this, then just actually kill me. I turned my life around at 25. Didn't make my decision till 30. How old is Erin Reed? I need to find out now. Hang on. I opened something else. I just want to find out how old she is. Because they're always like old. They're always like my age, if not older. 1988 or 1989. So older than me. Oh, April 12th, 1990, this one says. So like barely older than me, actually. But yeah, they're not usually like young. Oh, and then Zoe Zephyr is, wait, 2023, both 34, so she wouldn't have been born 1990. She's around my age, okay, that's fine. So she hasn't actually been trans all that long, but they get radicalized very quickly, it turns out. I mean, she's dating is it a senator or something else? I'm not really sure. I'm just having a look here. But yeah, here we go. Cass met with DeSantis pick, fucking cringe. Anyway. But yeah, like, actually fucking kill me if I ever do a post like this. I do not understand this kind of thing. Like literally posting yourself as a man when you have gender dysphoria. Like for me, I wouldn't want to show that kind of stuff because I don't want people to associate me with that person. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. And it feels like narcissistic in a way. It's like, it's never too late, implying you're supposed to think the one on the right is better looking than the one on the left, which isn't always the case. I'm sorry. Do I like the term ally, which is state formally cooperating with one another for a military purpose? I know it says other purpose, but the military aspect gives me a red flag. Yeah, I mean, the term ally has been around a long time, like LGBT ally or whatever. I mean, it's a term. To me, it mostly means like freaks, you know, Alec Gunter and people like that. But yeah, I don't know. It exists. You know, I need useful words to be able to describe stuff. I don't know. Perhaps some AGP style of an attempt to glow up, whatever they call it. Yeah, potentially. I mean, the idea that this is kind of part of the fetish is like disturbing to me. I guess like how much the difference is. I'm not sure. Listen, I don't know that this person's an AGP. I'm spitballing. I don't know. I'm not saying they've got a fetish. Blah, blah, blah. Call me a transphobe in the comments anyway.
But I don't want to say anything about this, okay?
We already did, don't worry.
I'm going to get banned. I don't want to get banned. I don't know. I'm not going to get banned. I'm a pro-trans.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, how do you not ridicule stuff like this? I'm sorry. Like, no offense to fucking Erin Reed, apart from the fact I think she's a terrible person. But like, what are you supposed to say? And you imagine what kind of person this was. Like, were they like empty, just kind of not with any real purpose in life, not really feeling any like passion? Like, is that what it is for some of these people? They meet other people that have this kind of passion and then it becomes theirs as well? I'm not sure what I meant to think. I don't know her story, but it's amazing how often it's something like, you know, 2 years ago, I met these like other trans people and then like I started transitioning a year and a half ago, that kind of shit. So often I see it now. Once I started seeing it, I can't unsee it. And we can't keep pretending that social contagion isn't one of the factors that causes people to become trans. It doesn't have to be the factor even, but it's there.
It's ally, come on. By the way, again,
like, is anyone going to seriously tell me anywhere that no one does this for like community and because other people are doing it? And even if you look fucking ridiculous, at least you're mixed in with other people that look fucking ridiculous. Do you know what I mean?
All posted by themselves, just looking at publicly posted things that they themselves have posted. That's all, okay? Yeah, Cactus.
Seems weird to post via dysphoria. Yeah, that's how I feel. I wouldn't want to spread out around like pictures of me looking masculine. They're very hard to find because I started transitioning when I was 25, but I was wearing makeup and stuff when I was like 16. No, not 16, about 18 or something. What's the point of transitioning if Aaron is posting pictures like this? I don't know. Almost every trans woman that I see seems to. Like me, I want to bury it, you know? I don't want people to see that shit. And if they do, it's not the end of the world. But like, I didn't want people to associate me with that person anymore, you know? Like, isn't it supposed to be that you're not that male version of yourself anymore? But these people aren't changing it anyway, so I don't know.
I mean, I just think, for me,
yeah, like what did someone like this talk about, do you think, before they became trans and started talking about trans rights nonstop? Like, what kind of person were they, do you think? You wonder how many of these people drive all their friends and family away because they become into a completely different fucking person. I often wonder.
This is the problem with the move away from medicalization of this stuff, right? Is you move away from it being a medical condition that you're treating to something to be celebrated. And then, as you'll see here, people want to share the gory details of the medicalization process, including things like
friends, no life equals ally. It's not that I don't agree. I do agree. Never too late. Why children should be able to transition. Yeah, I know. The messaging is always confusing. I personally think it's good to... Yeah. Listen, you're saying it, so I don't have to. What was I saying? Fuck. Yeah, I think a good way of messaging would be to tell people that fucking puberty isn't a death sentence and being moved on to an adult waiting line isn't a death sentence. But then I don't know how seriously to take the sort of child suicide epidemic anyway, so I don't know.
Like this. And I understand it's not nice for people to talk about it and be mean about it, but people are then going to look at it and talk about it because you put it out there publicly for, you know, do you know what I mean? And then people get upset when it gets looked at, and people say things about it. It's like, you posted it to be looked at. I know you did it for validation, but like...
Yep, if it's in public, then people are going to look at it. If you don't want people to look at it, don't fucking push it, whatever. Passion or mental illness, I don't know. I just kind of, like I said, I wonder what kind of people these were before they started going on about trans rights ad nauseum. Like, did the people that know them notice these big changes suddenly in them, you know? But hey, I don't know how I'd start finding people that were like family members of anyone like this. It doesn't have to be this person particularly. I don't know where you'd like start, like trying to hear from those kind of people. I'm sure I'll, like trans widows, I guess is a good one.
Not everyone's going to want to validate you. That's just the way of the internet, you know? So yeah, I'm going to move swiftly on from that. Okay, this is not relevant to what we're talking about at all.
Who is this? Oh, there's loads of them, Jesus Christ. I think I recognize any of them. They're all super important trans advocates, I guess, activists. I keep getting those two words mixed up. I don't know who the fuck any of them are apart from Gappy. Sorry, did I call her Gappy? I meant Aaron Reed. Excuse me.
Okay, this is not relevant to what we're talking about at all. This looks like a group of happy people.
Listen, I get so irritated that British people get loads of shit for their teeth, and that's fair enough. I mean, you can kind of see Chud's teeth. You can see mine, look. They're not very good. But like most of these American people, their teeth fucking aren't very good either. So like, fuck you.
What more is there to say than that, eh?
Just to make things more fun in my life, my ex-wife, oh Jesus, so this one does have a kid. Trans widow, there we go. I wonder what, maybe there's some stuff on Kiwi Farms. Maybe her trans widow has got some juicy details. My ex-wife who had no interest in the custody of our child. I find that hard to believe about any mother, but okay. Before I came trans, suddenly is fighting me for custody. What the fuck? Jesus Christ.
Why is Chud still on Twitch and Destiny was removed completely for just one discussion about trans athletes? The jury's out on that one.
Because Destiny was the kind of person who might influence people on that kind of stuff, and spreading doubt about trans athletes is not what Twitch wants, I guess.
But I think I do. Listen, I know I sound like I'm close to the bone sometimes. Touch wood, I'm still on Twitch, okay? Knock on wood. I do try and be quite careful.
As far as I know, he still is on Twitch. Like, I see him sometimes because I download my VODs from Twitch. He doesn't get much viewership. It's all about the YouTube viewership, to be fair.
Careful. I do say things that are a bit outlandish sometimes, but I try and be careful with it. I might well get banned, who knows? But if I recall correctly, I think that Destiny said something about, he used the word subhuman, I believe, at one point or something, and I think that contributed to it. I mean, obviously it's stupid, he's still banned now. But yeah, I think it was to do with that or something. That's what I heard. So the point I'm trying to make is more so like, when you talk about this stuff, and listen, I could be totally wrong about this, right? I could be totally fucking wrong about this. I might say something that gets me banned. I don't fucking know. It's a fucking mess up at Twitch HQ, okay? I could get banned for this stream. Who knows, okay? You know, I could say something totally outlandish and get banned. But I think that, you know, you do have to be careful when you're talking about it and just try and navigate it. I mean, it kind of cucks you a bit because, you know, you do need to say things in a certain way. And I try to be aware of that, you know? It's why I say things in the way that I do and people think maybe I'm just being soy. But sometimes I'm trying to think, okay, how is this going to look? What do I say to make sure that this isn't a clear break of the TOS or something? But who knows? I could be banned tomorrow. I guess we'll find out. Anyway, just to make things more fun in my life, my ex-wife, who has no interest in custody of our child before I came out as trans, suddenly is fighting me for custody. Wonder what changed. Okay. See, here's the other thing that I think about this situation.
Do they match now? So Big Mike.
Right? So, Erin.
What bothers me is what other demos treated so vulnerable to suicides. Men higher than women, drug user rates higher than trans rates. Yeah. I mean, the male thing has been a cause for concern for a long time, and you don't really hear these people talking about that. It's just the trans stuff. We want to be treated as special. We want to push the victim mentality as much as we can. Talk about how oppressed we are so that we're special and certain rules don't apply to us and we get treated with more compassion and shit like that than other people do. To me, I think it's BS, obviously. I don't think I'm oppressed. I live in England. I'm from England. I'm white. I don't get shit from people in general. I don't think I'm oppressed, so I don't know. I don't like the victim shit at all.
Posted repeatedly publicly about their relationship and about the divorce and stuff. Okay. And then they got upset when people went and looked up their fucking papers. And I think that it's like...
This is a pattern with trans people love to TMI about like their lives and stuff. It's crazy. I don't know why. We don't need to do that kind of shit.
Don't talk about it publicly. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, there's things that are private that I would not want to be looked at publicly. So I do my best to keep it private. I mean, if people find it, they find it, and that's that. But, you know, I think you can mitigate a lot of the risk of people discussing things you don't want discussed by just not really talking about it or drawing attention to it, you know? So anyway, off the back of all of this, they did a fundraiser.
Oh, GoFund. Are you serious? Oh, disgusting. I mean, I guess this must have been like earlier in, you know, their career or whatever, because there's no fucking way they should need any money from other people now. Like, I would be willing to bet that Erin Reed is eating good off the backs of like plenty of trans people. I don't get not telling you someone you're trans. My partner is trans, told me early on our friendship. I never thought I'd be okay with dating. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, to me, I just wanted to be open so that it didn't waste anyone's time. It didn't get my time wasted. There was no awkward conversations that might completely throw off a potential relationship that I might think is good. You know, there's loads of reasons. And you never know, yeah. You might become friends with someone who later becomes your partner because, you know, you get to know someone, you see them in a different light. Kind of most people have that kind of experience with me, not like falling in love with them or whatever shit, but like, I don't always give the best first impression to a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are very vibes-based. So people often like change their opinion of me quite a few times before they start to get what I'm actually about, if that makes sense.
For the legal fees. Find me a trans person that hasn't done a GoFundMe. Yeah, it'd be faster at this
I have never done a GoFundMe. Thank you. Thank you.
point to find a trans person that hasn't done a GoFundMe, okay? That'll be the quicker route. That'll be the quicker fucking route. $45K is a lot, isn't it?
My favorite ridiculous trans GoFundMe, I think, is still, there was a guy called Felix Fern who has transitioned and detransitioned and become non-binary and all that fucking shit, you know, all that whatever. They did like a GoFundMe to annoy Graham Linehan. They ended up having to add loads of like extra text onto it because GoFundMe came back to them being like, what is this actually for? Because it was pretty much just to line their fucking pockets because they think it'll annoy Graham Linehan, I guess. I don't know. Pathological, in my opinion.
Okay, Ali the TERF has got something to say. Mum thought she had a normal dad and didn't have an issue with him in custody. Finds out that he's got all these mental infirmities and feels the need to step in. I'm team ex-wife, obviously.
Thank you, Chasing the Dragon. You're probably based too. I haven't seen that much of your tweets. Your chat. I don't know. I'm tired. Let's keep going. Thank you, though.
I think, okay, I am sympathetic. I am woke and sympathetic, okay? I am. But I think what happens sometimes is people don't perceive the impact. Like, for example...
British and DGG brained. Yes, there we go.
All right? Let's say that I transition tomorrow.
Well, hey, that's where I knew Chud Logic from. Like, I used to see him on some of the panels and stuff, and I thought he was, like, super extra, but seemed super intelligent as well. And, like, there's a lot less screaming when he's not on, like, the panels and stuff, because he's quite hot-headed in debates. But, like, his actual content, like, I don't know, his perspective is very interesting, and, you know, he's actually intelligent and seems honest, you know. It's hard to find people, for me, it's hard to find people that are, like, not pushing a certain narrative and actually are just analyzing something and just looking at it, and that's like literally just what you're looking at. You know, it's hard to find people where you can trust them in that way. And I could be wrong about any of these people that I watch, but I don't know, it doesn't actually matter for the purposes of what we're doing here. So
I realized I was trans and I transitioned. You know, I'm picking the kids up from school tomorrow, so I shaved all my beard off and had my hair in a certain way and wore a dress, right? And I turned up at school and I was like, hey kids.
Hey kids.
What do you think they'd think? Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, to me, it's like, what would they think about that? Like, they're going to perceive that in a certain way. And whilst obviously, yeah, live your true self, queen, okay? It's like, there's going to be an impact there that you just kind of need to be aware of, I think, you know? And it feels like some people just don't have that outward perception. That's what it comes across like, at least. Just had to tell my mom to never call me again. She keeps misgendering me, then apologizing. I told her to try harder. She then said, look, my beliefs are different than yours.
Oh my god, your life is so hard. You keep getting misgendered. Shit. Chud has a normie perspective, internet memes. Yeah, exactly. I like his content. He's a good, his presentation style is good, I guess, as well. And I like dark humor, so.
So I told her to stop calling me, and I think I'm cutting her off.
Jesus, that's your mother. Do you know what I mean? DGG is the streamer Destiny's community, which I've never been part of like DGG or whatever, but I did used to watch Destiny, and he was, you know, he's definitely influenced me.
Why would you post it?
Like, this just sounds horrible. It's like, I don't know. I have a complicated relationship with certain members of my family, but like, I would never, like, something like this. I don't know. This is where the narcissism keeps coming back, where I keep thinking about how suddenly life is just all about this person and their transition now. And it's like crazy. Like, yeah, it's easier when your family makes an effort or gets it easier and calls you what you want to be called. But are you entitled to that? Like, how long should you give like your own family to like actually to get with the program? It's like, it's not just easy for some people, and it's your family. Like, I just find this nuts. I'm banned on GG, making anti-Semitic joke. Like, Jesus Christ. Well, I don't know. People keep getting scared away off of my Discord. By the way, you should join my Discord. I think the link is right, and it's in my bio. You should do that, and you should like the stream, and you should subscribe to me on YouTube and or Twitch. Thank you.
Why would you post this shit? I just don't understand why you would post like about the intricate. Have a burner that you literally only accept your most trusted people onto or something.
I would not be surprised if lots of these trans people have fucking humiliation fetishes. Sometimes I can't think of another way. Like, not so much this person, but the way some people look and willingly go out looking like, it feels like it's a humiliation fetish. When people overshare about their lives because they look just about normal enough not to get too much like hate based on that. It's like we can't not. We have some kind of fucking compulsion. Jesus Christ.
Something if you need to have a fucking venting account.
Why are there always a few people to jump in and play devil's advocate for my family? As if I haven't tried playing devil's advocate for them myself for the last 3 years. I asked my mom if she would ever get it right. I don't know, my beliefs are different. Like, what a terrible person, right? What a terrible mother you have that still makes an effort with you even though she's not getting it completely right. What a fucking difficult life Aaron Reed lives. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I've never done a GoFundMe myself. Yeah, would I be happier if I could put up a GoFundMe for 10 grand and know that it's going to come in a matter of days? Like, yeah, that'd be amazing. I'm not in that position.
Like, why are you posting this? It's like so stupid, and you complain that people look at it and laugh and go, oh, look at this. You posted it yourself, why?
It's a bit like how people constantly tweet at JK Rowling and then complain when after 50 tweets to her, she finally does one back to you, and you get harassed because her dipshit fans follow her. That's what kind of level we're on. Like, you're baiting like hate at this point.
Why are there always a few people to jump in and play devil's advocate for my family? As if I haven't tried playing devil's advocate for myself for the last 3 years. I asked my mom if she would ever get it right, and all she said...
I can understand not having your mom not believing your identity is valid. I mean, it's when you're complaining at just everyday people are misgendering. I say family's a bit different. I don't know. It really depends from person to person. You're going to get plenty of people whose kid comes out as trans and they really don't know anything about this at all. They might be like right-leaning. They might, you know, their life just takes them in very different circles. Like, to me, I try and be forgiving, I guess. Like, I don't know. I just don't really care about being misgendered, though. I don't really see there as being any kind of misgendering of me, quite honestly. So, I mean, if you call me neo-pronouns, I guess you're misgendering me, but whatever. I'm a dirty lib. To be fair, I'm kind of a lib myself, so I've moved away from a lot of the more entitled kind of positions on this because it really feels like there's very little in between. And people are encouraged to be as entitled as fuck when it comes to their pronouns, even when it's like they, them. Like, I've known people with like big platforms that put out this stuff being like, yeah, be militant about your they, them pronouns. People should gender you correctly instead of calling you she, even though you're literally just a fucking woman. That's so screwed up. Erin needs to give her parents, especially my mother, who spent 9 months in raised decades before their transition, some grace. Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't actually know the full situation. It's possible with more details I'd change my story. But from what's presented, like, yeah, that's crazy. And too many trans people are in this kind of mindset. You talk about things like, what was it, going no contact, that thing Jeffrey Marsh is saying to like kids, have fun going no contact, kids. It's like weird. So it's almost like we encourage people to cause these problems with their family because their families aren't getting it like immediately. I don't think that's right at all.
Said was, I don't know, my beliefs are different. Anyway, I'm having gender reassignment surgery in 3 weeks. I have a little bit more to raise. If you all can pitch in, I'd mega appreciate it. I've had to raise my goal by about 3.
Listen, I got my surgery on the NHS, but still, like, this isn't an ordinary person. You know what I mean? Like, the tweet above, we've got 8,000 something likes. I find it hard to believe that this person can't pay for their own shit. I'm sorry. I would be willing to bet that this person is decently well off from the work that they do. Yes, because militant minorities always get what they want. That's mental. Listen, I've been trying to tell trans people that this militant shit is ridiculous for years now. I started this channel like about 5 months ago because I didn't know what the fuck else to do. Like, it's gone so far beyond completely crazy in the last 7 years or so, let's say, that it's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do except shit talk these people until they start realizing it's not going to stop.
$3,500 to cover stay at recovery centre supplies pet sitting. Wait a second. Wait. Money to save the kid, more money for the reassignment surgery. That's 2 GoFundMe. That's 2 GoFundMes. The trans GoFundMe industrial complex strikes again.
Oh my God, I really need to find, I'll keep playing the video, but I really need to find something because I think there was someone that like detransitioned and then got dysphoria because they were born female, went female to male, lost all their hair because of their balding gene that I guess they had, and then felt dysphoria because of it. Like, you can't make this shit up. I can't remember if it was a GoFundMe though. If it was, then that's like supreme irony, especially because this person has said like stuff to the effect of how treating trans and non-binary and shit as like disposable is fine when it's not fine. Like, you lost all your hair, your voice is like forever fucked if you ever want to sound like a female again, you know?
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Thank you for the bits. Okay.
Karen gives a grifter vibe. Yeah, of course.
Right. Become trans. Build up social media profile. Have a number of issues that you need to deal with. And request multiple GoFundMes to...
Listen, is it showing, just quickly, I mentioned this earlier, help me raise 100k to annoy Graham Linehan. Like, utterly ridiculous. I think this might have been the only one this person did. That is them, by the way. They went very bald. This is a wig. I don't think... Let me just... Like, this gen never learned how internet posting worked. Only way to avoid trolls is not to post and don't argue with them. I mean, I like arguing with trolls, but I generally don't have a huge amount to do otherwise. Oh yeah, so they did 2 GoFundMes. What was the other one? Just Giving. No, that is GoFundMe. I got that wrong. At least 2. I don't think they ever, they were complaining about, they were complaining about, what it is. That they lost all their hair and they're like dysphoric and stuff. But I don't think they did a GoFundMe for any kind of treatment for that. That would have been like irony supreme, but I'm not making things up about people. Yeah, someone called Felix Fan. One of my oldest videos, like a bunch of my old videos, were watching these people that did these TV debates. Felix being one of them, another person called Frida Wallace, who is a character, you know. But yeah, Felix Fan, he said some stuff about like, you know, I was a trans man, now I'm like non-binary stuff, and it's all cool, I just change as I want to, and there's no problem with it. And it's like, you've lost all your hair, bro, and now you're like complaining. You've had to desist because medically this testosterone shit is not good for you. Like, why are you treating this so like disposably to the point where you're kind of giving the others the impression that's how you should think about it? It is not how you should think about it. Being trans is not fucking disposable. You do it, and then that's kind of it.
To financially support the things you need to do. I mean, dude, it's like repeated with this shit, man. I'm going to set a GoFundMe up for my fucking deposit for my house. That's what I'm going to do. I'm sick of this shit, dude. I'm sick of fucking saving money along the way. I'm actually waiting for interest rates to drop, so, you know, I'm more or less there, I think. But fuck it, I'm gonna set up a GoFundMe. Guys, listen, okay? I need another, I don't know, fucking 5k. 5,000 English pounds to go towards the deposit of my house so I can buy a place. Give me the GoFundMe money. Let's go. By the way, also, I'm trans, so I need to get
My mic's off, fuck, thank you. that just happens sometimes. Yeah, so it's important to like see, this is, you know, roundup of the controversial cast review, all these different criticisms. The very first one is like background reading. That's the very first one, is fucking Erin Reed. There's so many people who pop up on our screens saying, feel bad for me constantly. Yeah, true, I don't know. No one wants to do anything to achieve what they want. They just want to slap down a thing and justify why they're not making any effort. I don't know. Like, I don't know, you could start up a stream, you could put on an event, all sorts of stuff, but no one wants to do any work, so I don't know. And people who do want to work sometimes are the kind of people who can't work, so it's like, fuck. I guess life's just gonna keep being shit for a while. Yeah, so this is her, you met with a DeSantis pick. Does that mean that all the science is wrong? Of course it fucking doesn't. Incorrectly claims no good evidence. Is that what they fucking said? Like, this is all, it's just so fucking dodgy. Disregarded over 100 studies. I don't know if that's true. Anti-trans review by DeSantis. Like, there's the amount of like poisoning the well and guilt by association, whilst not really criticizing a whole lot of anything. Like, yeah, maybe some of these are like legit criticisms, but none of this like undermines it completely. And we're like, we're bringing up all these other people that, you know, DeSantis's pick and shit like that. But like, you know, like, what does that change?
safely housed. All of a sudden, the donations start.
And the thing is, if it was carried out by someone Erin Reed agrees with, it would be biased in the other way. But these people are never going to accept that. Or they'll be like Luxander and say, why are you only worried about bias from one direction, before just presenting like ultimate bias from the other direction and saying a whole bunch of bullshit. She hasn't even read the fucking cast review. She got this shit from either Erin, Alejandra, or both.
Blowing in. I'm going to cut off my dick. No, it's not. I'm joking. That was not to do with trans. That was just generally.
I think I forgot what he was talking about, and that took me off guard.
Really? Okay. Guys, I want to chop my dick off, get a shave, make my face look more feminine, buy a house, give me £10,000. Let's go. Nothing to do with being trans. It's
buy a house, £10,000. Okay, boomer.
Tyler, you get it. Okay. Anyway. Oh.
Erin Reed is who we're talking about now, and Alejandra Caraballo is someone we were previously talking about. They're both basically trans media outlets. And when I say that, I mean they propagandize, they make up all kinds of bullshit, etc. I've had to raise my goal for about 3,500. Who's she taking it from? I'm guessing trans people who are probably poorer than her, and then some rich people who probably back everything she does because it's also in their interests. I don't know. It's a bit disgusting when you think about it. Like, you get a free ride in life because a bunch of trans people like you. Just comes at the cost of being a complete fucking bullshitter. Nice.
Anyway, come on, guys, listen. A poor trans woman like me trying to buy a house, trying to get a vaginoplasty on the NHS. Do you know what the waiting list is like? I need to go to a specialist. I can't get puberty blockers on the NHS anymore. I need to go to a fucking specialist to get the fucking estrogen. Anyway.
Well, listen, talk to a trans person. Instead of going to the dodgy websites, you can find a trans person that knows the slightly less dodgy websites, and then you can get it black market.
Oh. I don't understand why these people ever get insurance. Because, I tell you why. It's because, this is going to sound hypocritical, okay? But I promise you it's not. These people look at their Twitter account, and they see it as, that's their insurance. You know, I can just ask my followers for cash, right? Not because they're making brilliant content to entertain you like I am, which is why you should sub to me, okay? But because it's just, well, I'm trans and I need to get this thing. And these people want to support trans people, and I'm a trans person. So
what other videos do you plan to watch after? I wanted to watch King Critical, about a ContraPoints video that I watched. A couple of other random things. I might talk about parts of the cancelling ContraPoints video. But I'm kind of easy. I don't know. I'll finish this and then just give me a shout. I'll consider it, I guess.
To give me money, right? And this is quite common. I mean, it's not even necessarily just trans people that do this. There's other people that do this too, where their life is in shambles, and rather than try and pursue meaningful, gainful employment or something, they'll just ask for money and they'll put out a sob story, you know? Make a Rumble stream already. Come on. Maybe I don't want to oversell it. I don't want to just be explicitly bigoted or something. It's just I can just say things exactly plainly how I mean it without worrying at all about TOS, you know? Do you know what'd be good as a social experiment?
Yeah, I feel so babied when people have to do this kind of thing. To me, I feel babied. I want people to talk about trans people the same way they talk about other people. Like, and not have to like hold back, and where a bunch of stuff, if you said it about any other people, it'd be fine. But saying it about trans people is not. Like, it's so annoying. I hate this, like, we want to be like coddled and babied and stuff. Like, me personally, I'm like 34 years old. I don't need that anymore. I'm okay. You know what I mean? But because that's what we're doing, it's like, I get it anyway, so.
Set up an account, wait 6 months.
Jamie Dodger's Brad Palombo videos full of blatant lies. Maybe. I try and spread out that kind of stuff, although it's good viewership. And I want to hit 500. I'm like on 405 or something on YouTube. I'd love to hit 500 like as soon as possible, but like, maybe.
6 months, post on it like you're a trans person waiting to transition.
The thing is, I could like just spend the rest of my time just doing videos about Jamie Dodger, because I think he's a terrible person. Like, literally, I think he's as much, if not more, of a grifter and a liar than these fucking people. And I'm gonna presume at least occasionally he gets info from these kind of people.
Put up a GoFundMe, obviously refund it after, but see how much money you can make by doing that. I reckon you could probably get 3K just by doing that, you know? Be a trans person, act like you're transitioning, say that you're short on cash, you've
Yeah, I'll have a look.
lost your job, you know. I'm not saying defraud people.
Because I remember I read I watched the Brad Palombo video, but I can't really remember what he said. Because again, like, Brad Palombo is someone that I wouldn't really usually watch on stream. I watched him for the Destiny thing and got shat on for a different reason. Like, the right comes for me occasionally too, don't worry.
Give the money back, but it'd be an interesting social experiment. Okay, so there's that. Oh, we're going backwards, so I should have labeled these better.
Aaron boycotting Arkansas, like, oh my god. Even the name, you know what I mean? Even the name. Offered great sums of money to any doctor to give him a vagina. I'm offering the same damn thing. Well, someone else's money, not your money. You're not offering your money. Oh, Brad Palumbo. Yeah, I generally think his stuff is alright. Like, a lot of it doesn't go very deep, which I guess is his format. I'm not saying that as a criticism. I specifically disagreed with him regarding what Destiny was saying about the Trump assassination attempt on Piers Morgan, because I thought Piers Morgan was being a fucking fanny, to be honest with you. I think Piers Morgan, out of anyone there, should have grown a bit of balls and thought a bit more about the situation than just being the fucking wannabe centrist fucking shill, whatever shit. Isaac Uncooked. I've heard the name, but I haven't
Allegedly,
I haven't watched anything.
in 221 CE, Roman Emperor Elgabalus offered great sums of money to any doctors that could give him a vagina. 1800 years later, I'm offering the same damn thing.
Brad is often a fanny as well. That was basically my point with the Destiny video, and I think some of the fans of his weren't very happy with me, but that's just what I fucking get. Mostly agree with you on Destiny thing, not quite fire with fire. Yeah, I mean, it's perfectly fair to like see it that way. He's right about conservatives denying Jan 6. Yeah, I know. To me, it's insane that he's running at all, but I need to try not to get into too many fights with Trump supporters, because I don't know. There's various like avenues of politics and like social shit, whatever, where you just end up in a cult, and it's just like, I don't know how I'm supposed to talk to someone in this level of denial. It's similar with these kinds of people, because there's more than one cult. The trans cult isn't the only fucking cult out there.
But seriously,
oh, and by the way, the trans cult doesn't mean all trans people, in case anyone's watching this post and is gonna soy out about that one.
My empire for a vagina, please. It appears my source misgendered her. Fuck, lol. She even dealt with the same bullshit too.
Oh, I just hate trans people so much. Oh my god. I don't. It's these kinds of people specifically. Like, we're so fucking cringy. I think if Trump's changed since then, he should be able to run, but I don't know if he has. I don't know, he won't even be held, like, culpable for most of that shit, isn't he? Like, what was the word? They can't charge him for stuff, which is mad to me. I think it's completely insane. I don't think he's changed at all, but, I don't know, someone with that track record, I think that's way too much, personally. He has changed, he's massively declined cognitively. Yeah, I guess. Jesus.
Yeah, true. I'm going to need a source on that one. Oh my God, man. See, some of these, like, look, I disavow the doxing and whatever, the bad stuff on there. But some of this is just, oh, look, this person said something cringe and funny, okay? Slur, maybe. But, like, they're just saying, look, this is a funny, cringy thing to put up. Do you know what I mean? God, I really wish people, and not necessarily the person the thread's about, but I wish that people could just look past the things that they don't like and just engage in it in the spirit with which it's designed. Wait, I just mean that some of this stuff is just funny to have a bit of fun with and laugh at. I'm not even having a go at them for being trans here at all. I'm just like, look, this person said something cringy and funny. Look. You know, everyone says stuff cringe and funny.
Listen, if that was the basis for, like, transphobia, whether you're actually making fun of someone for being trans or not, we wouldn't be having half the fucking conversations we're having, you know?
Funny sometimes. Okay, upside down smile emojis. Hi, I suppose that a lot of people write to you that you look great, but I would like to tell you that for me, you look incredibly gorgeous.
This is such a humble brag. Fuck off. Did you actually receive this? Like, you're not making it very clear. Oh, well, I think you look gorgeous. Like, it has to be something where someone's complimenting them and saying that, oh, lots of people must say the same thing, but you look like a normal woman. Like, I get, you know, it's not actually a compliment, but it's like, you don't know if that's hers. It just feels like a humble brag to me.
You look like a normal woman, not like a transgender woman. Cheers.
I see plenty of trans people that go on about how often they get hit on and stuff, and I just find it really hard to believe. Either they get hit on by the kind of guys that would literally fuck anything, and or they present themselves a certain way that kind of brings those kind of comments. I don't know. I don't get, like, fucking hit on and stuff. Like, I don't really want to anyway, but I don't know. I don't believe most of these people.
But wait, isn't that good? Is it just a mention of trans that you don't like?
It's because it's a backhanded compliment, but I don't know. This is soy as fuck.
Chud said, no, still do. Come on, no. It's a bit cringe, yeah. It's a bit cringe, but, like, I don't know, to post this with the upside down smiley face.
It's just hyper offended by everything, I think, is what's going on, to be honest.
There's a real attention-seeking behavior here, you know? This person's got 5 karma. They're a literal nobody, but they just wanted to post on social media for some sort of validation. Fucking hell, man. Okay, this is where it starts to get interesting for me, okay? So did you know that this person used to have a Reddit tattoo? So that's them there. Okay? I believe now it's been removed with laser removal surgery. But yeah, they used to have a Reddit tattoo. And apparently, according to the thread, okay, before they got laser removal surgery, whenever they took pictures, they would try and position it so you couldn't see the Reddit tattoo. Look, God, this is the sign, isn't it? That, like, people can't laugh about themselves. Because there's nothing about this aspect that is, you know, bad. It's just a cringe thing that you did when you were younger. But apparently they were quite sensitive about it. So allegedly they would angle themselves so that people wouldn't see it in pictures and shit, you know? But this is a caught in the wild situation. So yeah, there it is. There's the Reddit tattoo.
My thing's just going to be muted every fucking time. Reddit tattoo. Sorry, I was looking at something else for a minute. That is like... Okay, listen. I will maintain that this kind of tattoo is still better than the one that loads of trans people get, where it's the male and female symbols combined. I hate that shit, okay? I'm fucking... You could give me the most attractive fucking trans woman in the world, and, like, if I finally, like, get them out of their clothes and shit, and I see one of them, I might be like out the door. I'm not even kidding. Like, that stuff is like...
And is this a close-up? Yeah, that's just a close-up.
From the looks of it, he doesn't regret Jan 6. Last time he seemed to mention it was over a year ago. I'm amazed, like, that he's mentioned it, like, at all. I don't even know if he's even, like, acknowledged that the election didn't go his way.
And then there's this. Why did you get a Reddit tattoo in the first? So this is their old Twitter account. Why do you get a Reddit tattoo in the first place? I'd like to understand. Bullshit answer. I'm a sociology PhD in training and love the idea of the collective democratically sending information to the top bottom, and the idea of the hive mind in general. Social media really amazes me.
What? I don't know.
True answer. I was drunk at...
Because, like, bullshit answer, it kind of feels like they probably do actually think that a little bit, but whatever.
A Reddit meetup. I don't think that's fully the bullshit answer, is it? I think there's some truth
Just literally said what I said. Thank you, Chud Logic.
to that. I don't think you get a Reddit tattoo, even when you're drunk at a Reddit meetup, without believing some of that. Right? I mean, it's quite clear that, yeah, you really like to fucking Reddit. Yeah, sociology PhD too, by the way. Telling us all about the cash report. Filling us in on the details of the cash report. Very good. Very nice. Very nice.
Yep, that's everyone's source. Sociology PhD. I don't know about America, but, like, that's the kind of thing that you say is, like, a joke PhD. It's, like, not very high above, like, fucking David Beckham studies or whatever the fuck one university was offering, like, 1 year. Is it, can't you do a Taylor Swift degree or a Taylor Swift course or something now?
Okay. And what is this? This is
Oh, hey.
r/egg_IRL.
Oh my god, this is what Sam was, like, linking me to. This place is, like, so, it's so, like, neotenized and disgusting, and, like, it's hard to describe. I'm really not familiar with Reddit. I've, like, vaguely used it a few times in my life and got bored very quickly each time. But, like, this shit is creepy. I don't know what he's going to show, because I've seen it more recently and it was disgusting. Would it not be incredibly specialized, that level of education? Especially in the UK, I see very specialized masters. Maybe, I don't know, I mean, you know, people like Jammy Dodger have, like, PhDs in psychology, and it doesn't make them very smart, so I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what kind of knowledge it actually conveys onto a person. And it seems to vary. I mean, hey, you see all these people with these books all behind them, and it doesn't seem to have actually helped them become intelligent, so I don't know. I don't put too much emphasis on someone's education, especially when it doesn't really match the stuff that they're actually doing now. Reddit is a trans activist echo chamber. I could probably have some fun there sometime, but I much prefer, like, the video kind of medium, I guess. But I probably will at some point.
A subreddit that Erin Reed used to be a moderator of.
Oh my god, she was a moderator of this disgusting fucking pit. Oh my god, gross.
I'm just going to call a spade. This egg shit is...
Yeah, egg cracking, so convincing someone that they're also trans. Which to me, I never want to be the reason someone fucking transitions. Like, oh my god, I would feel incredibly guilty. And it's just disgusting, man. Like, you don't know how old half the people that are on here are. They share all these, like, really neotenized, like, obviously catering to, like, younger people kind of memes and stuff about all this kind of egg stuff. It feels groomery as shit. I hate it. There was a Buffy the Vampire Slayer from university back in the day. Oregon or Washington. Yeah, I guess it would be. What did we have, like, years and years ago? I think it must have been when I was, like, in my young teens. I'm sure I heard something about someone offering, like, David Beckham studies. He was a footballer that was, like, really popular for a while in the UK. Like, people like that, I can't remember. And I'm sure there was a Taylor Swift one that I heard about recently. Maybe there was, like, Katie Price studies or something as well when she was famous. I'm not sure.
Is fucking groomery, okay? The idea that someone is trans and they don't know it, and you need to help them break out of their
shit. Yes, it's weird. It's groomery, and this fucking site, this subreddit, it feels very, like, centered towards children, and I feel very uncomfortable about that.
Is riddled with groomer shit, okay? Sister, oh, your skin looks so soft and clean. Did you do something? Me, huh? No, I just don't have acne anymore. Epic save, plus 60. Having cock and balls is enough torture.
You see what I mean though already? It's very focused towards, like, younger people. You wouldn't show, like, a 30-year-old this, right? I mean, maybe, I guess, like, people my age are probably into this kind of shit, but, like, you know what I mean though.
Uh,
I can't even read half of that. But like, again, do you see what I mean? Like this neotonized, disgusting, like presentation.
oh.
You mix that with the way that a lot of like trans people seem to act online, where they're like going through some weird second childhood or some shit.
Okay, listen, guys. I'm not the expert on anime or anything like that. What's the verdict here?
My verdict is disgusting.
The cis male urge to grow your hair, get cute femme clothes, come out as a girl, go on titty skittles, and get bottom surgery. Oh god, that's the other thing they do that's grotesque. I've not seen that for.
This isn't a cutesy thing. Like being trans isn't easy. It's not like a meme. You know what I mean? Anime is groomer content. Prove me wrong. Listen. I know next to nothing about anime. Maybe I'm the only trans person in the world with that, as well as the GoFundMe shit that I've never done. So yeah. That stuff is so weird. Yeah, I can't with this shit. I think it's disgusting. I hate the groomer shit in general.
For ages, they call hormone therapy, which is a very intensive medical intervention, they call it titty skittles. Isn't that gross? Isn't that really gross?
It's gross in this context. Like calling it that shit for fun when you're like an adult anyway is like fine, and you're talking about your own shit. But like, it's like they're trying to sell this shit to kids. I don't want this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to convince kids that they're trans. Like, that's the last thing I want. If I spoke to someone, it would be more like, you really need to like know what you're getting into. You really need to understand the changes you're going to go through and what it is that you can't just change back on a whim. Like, people act like you can, which irritates the ever-loving fucking piss out of me. Oh, there's loads of animes that sexualize children. Like, I'm not familiar with anime in general, but I know of this kind of stuff, you know.
They turn it into like a figure of fun rather than, no, this is a medical treatment that is quite, you know, serious stuff, you know. Do you still think that you're not trans, or do I need to do more convincing? Dude, I don't know what this NSFW stuff is going to be. Wanting to be called a good girl, wanting to be called a bad bitch. Okay. Trans mask transition goals, trans femme transition goals. Looking at pictures of girls and totally not getting jealous.
Oh my god, there was someone I used to know that was trans. Like, one time she was talking about a train journey on like social media about how like depressed and like dysphoric she started getting because she saw a attractive woman on the train. That was literally it. It was so fucking weird.
Voice training seems so hard and scary, but I really, really, really want to do it. Can I get some motivation to start, please? Also, any tips are appreciated.
Here's some voice training tips. Whatever your normal voice is, try and talk higher. There you go.
Because I have no idea what I'm doing. How does one make their parents use their preferred name and pronouns? Asking for cis reasons. I mean, some of these are just like, whatever, you know? I look forward in time, I saw 40 million futures. In how many do I transition? All of them. I mean, look, I don't know, man. Some of this shit is like whatever, but some of it's weird. Anyway, you're right, I should probably stop scrolling.
Yeah, a lot of this, like, I guess a lot of trans women, not all of them, plenty of them aren't. But you get some of them that are good at, like, towing the line, if you know what I mean. I think someone like Lily Tino is a good example of that. Like, they're always towing the line. Oh no, I meant to turn my camera off because I was coughing or something. I'm back. It's fine. It's fine. If my camera's off, it's probably deliberate. If my mic is muted, it's because I muted between the things and I didn't turn it back on. I can't remember what I was saying.
Just to be on the safe side. Oh wait, hang on. I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, like, this shit toes the line, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it comes across as groomery, but it's very difficult to, like, substantiate why. Kind of like people like Lily Tino, who, like, toe the line. And they're always seen as gross and disgusting, but they're never really doing anything quite bad enough. By the way, definitely, exactly. By the way, I'm pretty sure Lily Tino exclusively does, like, porn now. So that's the thing you can think about if you ever need to be sick on cue. Just think about fucking Lily Tino doing porn. Fuck me.
But yeah, this just shows that there used to be a mod of that community.
Gross.
Interesting stuff. But when a kid gets caught up in all this, it's going to fuck with their head. Well, that's the thing, is I think that one, especially for like,
oh my god, we got more Tom Tent. I didn't watch Tom Tent, don't worry. I won't drive people that much to insanity.
Younger kids in particular, is this kind of like, oh, my 5-year-old is trans or something like that. It's like it would seem that like affirming that is insane because they're 5 years old. Most memes are pretty whatever, but there's also, oh, hey Sasha, how's it going? There's some more gross memes that tend to be posted there. Yeah, I'm sure there's worse. I mean, a lot of those I wasn't really that bothered by, but I really hate this idea that
seems like she's doing that as a pretense to hook up with women out of that league. Yeah, most probably.
Being trans is something that needs to be teased out of you by a third party, you know? That's like a really concerning concept, and people are going to be worried about that. But what's that about, you know?
Do you think sex work for some of those kinds of people is like the alternative to just hiring a prostitute, if you know what I mean?
Because it's such a shift from what we're used to in terms of how this stuff we believe works. Okay. So yeah, this is another situation where I think that particularly these
trans athletes, here we go, very against this. Well done to this male who beat up a female. Good job. Well done, Alana Farrell. Was she the one that blocked me? I can't remember. There was one of these types of people that blocked me like really fucking quickly. Samantha Lux's video defending Lily. Oh, really? I saw the thumbnail and stuff and the title. I didn't know she's like defending her. I might have to watch that because, I don't know. Lily Tino is one of those people that I really don't like, but it's hard to put into words why, because of the fact that she's pushing the line, not like flinging herself over it the way someone like Keffels tended to do, you know?
Online trans advocates have wedded themselves to the worst possible fucking arguments, you know?
Yes. Oh my god, this is so fucking based. This is so true. We should have taken the L on this fucking transport shit because we had no good arguments for it. We should have taken the L on trans kids because no one wants this shit, and there's a lot more arguments against it than for it. Like, Jesus Christ, this is shit I was saying for like years and just no one fucking listened, because every time I said something, I'd know someone who runs some kind of trans space that's got like 5-figure followers saying the exact opposite. And it's like, great, okay, I'm completely fucking nullified instantly. Fucking great. But it's not fucking happening anymore like that, so it's fine.
No? Where it's like the trans women in sport conversation, you know, even in the midst, as things were shifting quite significantly to, well, yeah, if you go through male puberty, you're going to have advantages that cannot be overturned by HRT or whatever. So you should still be able to.
Even though I disagreed with her, I still thought she was more respectable than that. I don't find Samantha Lux very respectable. I saw her on Jubilee. I don't think I ended up posting it, but I don't know. I have theories about how woke people empathize with others, in the sense that a lot of them seem like they can't and have to replace it with other things. And I don't know. I'll find a way of like of better articulating my thoughts on that. But yeah, I'm not a fan of hers, and I'm not surprised that she would defend Lily Tino. She might be an AGP. I don't know. Ultimately, wouldn't surprise me.
Participate just the same in women's sports. Like it's just a losing argument that goes against, you know, sports bodies and stuff like that. You know. But for some reason, they're completely wedded. You know, I feel like the cash report stuff that's happening now is a repetition of the stuff that happened a few years ago when, like, more information came forward that said, yeah, if you go through male puberty, there's going to be these advantages that you have that you can't get rid of. It's like the same thing happening again to me, you know? Where we're having the same kind of arguments and the same wedding to, like, the worst possible positions that you could have over the shit, you know? Congratulations to Alana Farrell for winning her MMA fight. It's wonderful to have more trans athletes.
That's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
Legit question. As a father, how would you react to one of your kids coming out as trans? I don't have kids yet, but it's something I've thought about and I can't find a good answer.
Terrified and worried and concerned. And like, is there a way that we can make them comfortable with how they are? Like, that's the true answer for any parent.
Yeah, here's the thing. So many people that push the trans kids arguments, they never seem to empathize with the parents, which is something that I want to make sure I do, because any conversation about someone else's kids really does have to involve the parents to me. I don't think there's a way of like justifying, unless in abuse situations, which, you know, you'd have to determine that there was one first. Like just the idea of another adult having conversations and like secrets with your kid that you the parent are not allowed to know about. That must be terrifying. And the fact that we're so like divided over this trans shit, it's extremely hard to get like reliable information for parents to like make an informed decision. And if they start identifying with this thing, now they've got instantly a much higher chance of killing themselves. And everyone's saying all this shit like, oh, you got to give your parents, your kids this stuff, otherwise they'll kill themselves. Like, that's terrifying. I'm not a parent myself, but I can still understand, you know. Caring about others has to be turned to something that makes them look good. Honestly, the way I see it, a lot of people replace things like empathy, which they lack, with something like intersectionality, where they can like add people up into, you know, equations where they can determine who are the people they should feel sorry for and who they shouldn't. And that's just a way of doing it, because they can't just genuinely empathize for anyone, you know. I don't know, it's a theory of mine. I need to work on that, but I think it's true.
If you dig deep within yourself.
Like, how many people do you come across that they think they're a good person because of their beliefs and not because of the way they live their life and the way that they treat the people around them? You know what I mean?
The idea that a parent would be supporting and just like, yes, oh my God, you're trans, amazing, is crazy to me because of the journey that would lie ahead, you know?
And here's the thing, I'm trans. I can tell people, like, it's not actually easy. It's not fun. It's not, like, trendy and shit. I mean, it is trendy, but it shouldn't be. Like, this affirmation stuff, it's just crazy to me. Like, fucking hell, of course I would want to tell any kid that wants to transition how hard it is. Like, are you kidding me?
It's not conversion therapy to find out if there's other issues that could be at play that might be influencing it. And you know, if there's a way, like, answer me this, if you think that I'm saying for conversion therapy, okay? If someone said that they were trans and the options are, one, we've created a pill that is 100% foolproof that you can give to someone.
Yeah, here's the thing, that the intersectionality thing doesn't even work, because someone like me, I'm not less due any criticism than anyone else because I'm trans. And like most woke people, when it's someone they disagree with, their wokeness seems to just switch out like a light. And they don't have any empathy like for someone like me, who they will just repeatedly shit on or just contradict or whatever the fuck until I go away. It's like, okay, you're a trans activist and you're like super shitty to me, a trans person. Like, why? Because I disagree with you? It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. And like so much like allyship and stuff like that is very performative in my opinion.
And they will immediately be comfortable with the identity that they are there and then without any change. Would you rather give them that? Or two, would you rather say, okay, what we'll do is we'll allow you to transition based on our current shit to the other gender that you feel you are? What option would you choose? It'll be one every single time, okay? And if you say two, you know, you are too wedded to the concept of trans as an identity that you would rather someone go through an extremely fraught medical process to become a simulacra.
Yeah, I agree with Chud on this. And like, listen, like, it's good to hear parents' perspectives. Like, I have a nephew, but I don't have a kid, you know what I mean? So I don't really know what it's like to literally be in those shoes, but like, I don't know, hearing other perspectives is actually useful. And it's weird that that's like the trans line, you know, like, listen to people's experiences, like, believe other people's perspectives, but it only counts for people they agree with. To me, it's like I should hear as many perspectives as possible, even if I don't agree with them personally, because people know what it's like to live a life that I don't. People know what it's like to be a parent or a black person or whatever the fuck else that I don't. So it is important to listen to people. You can't just pick and choose who the good people are to listen to. Like, that's completely backwards.
Of the gender that they believe that they are, rather than just fix the issue in a foolproof way.
When I say pick and choose, listen, you can based on who's fucking intelligent and who's stupid, but based on like what their beliefs are, like, you have to be really careful with that, because so many people end up in these echo chambers. Like, when was the last time this person heard from like a conservative on what they think on some of this stuff, you know? Like, and I mean seriously, as in like a conversation, not just someone shitting on them on fucking Twitter or whatever.
Do you see what I mean? Like, it's one every single time. Now, we don't have option one, okay? So I'm not against adults who are wanting to transition or whatever, right? But the point is that some people are so wedded to it that they would choose that. And that influences their entire perception and view, you know? So yeah, I wouldn't be jumping for joy and being like, oh my God, my kid is trans. You know, I'd be like, fuck, what? This is a very fraught situation. What are we going to do? This is crazy.
Exactly. Like, I can completely imagine that. I don't have to have a kid to imagine that. And it doesn't actually take much effort to like have a bit of empathy for groups that might stand a bit against what you want. Because like, you need to understand other perspectives. And it's wild to me how many of these people, it doesn't matter what you say, they're not going to consider your perspective. They're going to be like, no, it has to be like this because we need special treatment because blah, 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 you know?
You know, I'm not like a conservative kind of person who would be like, no, this is what it is. There's men and there's women. I would seek out whatever support is available to try and get them the best care possible and hope for the best, you know? And that's it. That's what you do as a parent. There's a quote that I think people do, particularly allies, where they're like, oh my goodness, I would be so happy if my kids say they were trans and I'd be so supportive and I'd let them wear dresses and I'd let them do all this. I'd put them on puberty blockers straight away. You're just coping. You're coping. If you were a parent, unless you're fucking infested in your brain with this shit, you would be deeply concerned and worried about what the future holds. Okay?
Do you think we get many like trans parents who are like, oh, I'd be more worried if my kid turned out cis? I bet there's someone. I bet fucking if Jammy Dodger had a kid somehow, like, I bet you could like get him saying something like that. Or if not him, then someone similar. Because there's plenty of fucking bobbleheads that are just him again, you know?
That's not my voice training. That's a brainwashed. I don't know. Anyway, it's wonderful to have more trans athletes, and she shows that not only can trans people compete, they can win too. And we should be proud of them when they do. Excellent fight, Alana. What's the deal with this Alana person? I don't know much about them. And what is this? Hey y'all, Leah Thomas has been getting lots of hate from right-wing media.
Of course, they're like a communist and shit. Like, here we go. We've got the disgusting fucking that. We've got anarcho-communism. Whatever the fuck that is. What's she called again on here? I can't remember if it was her or someone else I had a brief exchange with. Ah, there we go. Unblocked. I sort of assumed as much. Anyway. I'm blocked by a hell of a lot of these people, considering I'm a nobody. When one trans girl came to her father, I'd rather have my trans daughter than a gay son. Yeah, I've heard stuff like that. It definitely happens, and it's disgusting. Like, we shouldn't be giving homophobes like an easy out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she followed the rules, she competed, and won. She isn't
Here's the thing. Sorry, I'm pausing so much. I don't fucking care at the moment. Is it the IAA that governs this shit? Because she did follow the rules. Do you know what the rules are for like trans athletes at this like college level where she was at? The rules are like you have to be on HRT for a year. I've seen studies that suggest that the male strength advantages persist after 2 years. Like, there's no way that this is like a fair way of doing it. And like Leah Thomas, like fucking hell. I mean, this person just wants unconditional support. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just want unconditional support for something that's wrong. I mean, this person is how much taller? Like, their male training has, you know, before hormones was not all that long ago. They've got this wingspan. I don't know, like lung capacity as well. I don't know how, I don't know if there's a difference between the percentage of body fat that a trans woman should have versus a cis woman. But for a male, it can be lower than for a female, so you can have more muscle. There's loads of reasons why this isn't a good thing, and we shouldn't really be pushing it.
Breaking US records. There are still cis women ahead of her in the record books. Let's show our support for her. Trans people belong in sports.
Yeah, this kind of person won't take anything other than full inclusion. I'd be amazed if this person doesn't secretly think that trans women shouldn't even have to have like, they shouldn't have to have any kind of surgery or hormones or anything to compete. I'd be amazed if they don't think that a trans woman is a woman as soon as they declare themselves a woman, and none of that's necessary. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if that's true though.
I remember this story. The biggest issue with some of this stuff for me is separating fact from fiction. And both sides can take something away from that, okay? But what I mean is, it's like, it's so difficult to find information that is just down the line. This is why someone like Jesse Singal is so important. Because
yes, this is what I mean about like trans kids. Like you go online looking for information for a parent to like be more informed, and it's like God knows what they're being faced with. But I can only imagine. I transitioned ages ago, so I don't have to worry about that kind of shit.
Because he is, you know, not an ideologue hardcore in one way or another. He, you know, speaks fucking facts about the situation down the line. He's got his biases, sure, but he's not like particularly like transphobic or like pro-trans. He's just like, this is what the fucking information evidence show based on my journalistic whatever, right? I want someone like that for all of this stuff, you know? So tell me, chat, tell me, what's the deal with this? Tell me what to think without looking at...
Yeah, Leah followed the rules, but the rules were unfair. I agree with that. So yeah, she followed the rules, but I don't know. I don't think she should be competing with women, so... Feelings, the new HRT. Well, yeah. Like, part of the reason you see a lot more trans women that don't wear makeup or like really make any kind of effort is because it's all about like identifying now. It's all like I identify as a woman instead of I have gender dysphoria. I want to change myself to more resemble a woman because that's how I want to be regarded. You know, it's a very different, like I'm a bit more old school, I guess, in that respect, because that's what it was still kind of like when I was coming out, like 2014, that kind of stuff. Jemmy Dadra partner is from a Bengali Muslim family. They certainly are more likely to be receptive to a TMW relationship than a gay one. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I'm starting to think they don't even want to become the other gender sex. They just want to move away from their current gender sex. Maybe, yeah. And to an extent, I think that probably was true of me. But, you know, I basically am at the point where I don't really care because I didn't want kids anyway, and I'm fine with like where I am in life. So left versus right, basically self-preservation versus reckless kindness over trusting. Yeah, I get you. We went from being too conservative to trust innocent gay people being irrationally trusting of obvious risk. Yeah, of course. It's the same with like Me Too kind of stuff. It's like, believe all women. It's like, women started lying. It's like, now what? Shit.
Get it at all. Okay, we've got a few more to look at. Then we'll move on to Fallout, okay? We'll have some fun. Trans femmes were never socialized male.
Being socialized male means that you were male and had social experiences. Fuck off, Aaron. That's bullshit.
And did not have male privilege. Okay.
By the way, it's trans femmes now. It's not trans women anymore. You're supposed to say trans femme because that's more MB fucking. I had a song. I'll have to post it on like Discord or something. By the way, you should join my Discord. It's in the link. Anyway. I had a song that was on a trans femme compilation because I knew someone that was running it because I used to knew all the local fucking trans people here and all of them hate me now, which is absolutely fine. I don't give a shit. But yeah, I got this song onto a trans femme fucking...
You're anti-trans.
Oh, someone's anti-trans. Kara H, thank you. Yeah. Fuck, what was I saying? I can't remember. Yeah, no, I got this song on a trans femme compilation. Like, that was pretty critical of trans circles and stuff, so that was fun.
Right. If you, as a trans femme, later on in life, say, grow up and live as a male, okay, is it not just the fact that you'll be socialized male? No? I just might.
Well, yeah, that is how it is. Like, you might not have a normal male kind of socialization. I didn't have a normal socialization growing up because I have mental health issues. And that's kind of persisted my whole life, which is why I try not to excuse me. I try not to generalize my experiences to either males or females because I know how odd my own experiences were. But then on the other side of the coin, you get people who will be extremely judgmental towards the way females like socialize with each other when someone's an MTF, or extremely judgmental about the way males socialize with each other and find men difficult to converse with and become friends with. Or like FTMs who treat it like, oh, it's a cis men problem because they're so used to that kind of way of thinking anyway. And it sucks, you know. That's the kind of, some of the ways which we literally kind of breed bigotry if you think about it. But you can't be, fuck, what's the word I'm looking for? You can't be bigoted against cis white males and shit, I guess. So it's fine.
What is this? I don't know. I just think that's how it goes, is it not? Is that a crazy transphobic day? If you go through life as a boy, you will be treated as a boy, and you'll be so...
It felt like as soon as I met trans people not on Twitter, their opinions close to yours in a in person. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I seem to have a normal trans person experience, like opinion and stuff, whilst not being one. So I guess I kind of am caught between both worlds. But like what really broke me and like was a big influence on starting this channel was kind of realizing how most of the trans people I knew like in real life, except for like one person, were like all the same person. And like would all like, as soon as one thing came up they didn't like that I said, it was like, that was it, like in the bin. It was insane. Like I kind of realized it wasn't just crazies on the internet anymore, but there are still like normal trans people out there. Like I should be clear about them more often probably.
Socialize as a boy. That's just obvious, no?
Yeah, this just comes back to the cope. Like, what else can we deny that's real about us because we were born male and not born female?
My socialization was bullying and mass societal abuse of the core of my being. I was socialized terrified, and my privilege was to hide myself until I die.
Reverse bigotry. Yeah, reverse bigotry doesn't exist. It's just bigotry. Like, I'm sorry about it. If white is a race, then you can be racist against white people. There we go. By the way, I have experienced racism. It was a very minor thing. I didn't say or do anything about it, but I have actually experienced like slight racism as a white person.
Okay, look. Okay. You're telling me this person wasn't socialized male? I mean, like...
Yeah, don't bullshit us, Aaron. Like, this is like cope on steroids. We love to pretend that sex doesn't exist and whatever the fuck else we're doing with ourselves instead of just being normal people with brains. We're doing anything we can to cope over it.
Just ridiculous. Come on, bro. Come on, give me a break, will you? I'm trying to do this TOS, but Jesus Christ. Give me a break. You're telling me this dude was not socialized male. It's so patently absurd. This individual was socialized male so much they became a fucking incel. Okay, come on. Finally. Well, 2 more things to look at. The cherry on the top at the end. Let's look at this first. Just had a cis ally write up a long post meant to be praising me, but it
dead names and misgenders referring to me in the past. That's so stupid. Listen, if someone somehow finds out what my name is or like refers to me pre-transition and they call me a he, that's just like factual. Like, this is so pathetic. We have to have a problem with every tiny thing. We have to be so controlling over other people, over every tiny thing. This person is like the worst influence I can think of. Imagine like new trans people coming across people who put this kind of shit out all the time, which I knew tons of people like this. And I never agreed with it, and I let it slide and shit for a long time. But like, it's really bad.
names me and misgenders me.
From shirts to shoes, list all your items on Vinted in a flash and earn your money back. Always.
Listen, like I said, Chud, hopefully he's eating good off of this fucking ad revenue I'm giving him, because that's like fucking 3 or 4 adverts at least. It's been 2 hours, to be fair. I've been streaming for over 3 hours on one video. I don't give a shit. I'm not even going to edit this. I'll just chuck it straight up. Who cares?
When referring to me in the past. Okay, I'm making a 1984 reference. I'm fucking doing it, okay? I'm doing it. We've always been at war with East Asia. We've always been at war with Eurasia. My name has always been. No? Is that not the thing?
Yeah, because trans people are born in the wrong body. What happens is you get these women that they're born, but they're male. And that's like the condition is the issue that they're male. Like them having a penis, that's like part of their like bodily condition that needs like healing. You know what I mean? Your video watching the Contra from 5 years ago is eye-opening as to how we come. Yeah, I know. I was expecting to feel a bit of shock, but I think like for a while afterwards, I was like feeling something like having watched that. Jesus. That and how trans acceptance UK has dropped from 39 to 30%. Yeah, it's just going to get worse if we keep lying and if we push stuff that is ridiculous. And the thing about ContraPoints, like she said, very acceptable views that I still hold most of for the time. But now it's like stuff like that should get cancelled all over again for, and it's nuts to me. When she's saying a lot of correct shit because she's just kind of conceding where obviously, yes, I'm still a male, like living my life as a female, which only means so much and I can only do so much, you know, like, I don't know, it's crazy. I feel like ContraPoints was super influential, but in completely the other way in which she was hoping to be, in that she was probably hoping to like moderate people a bit, but people just took the worst kind of things that fed into their worst impulses. And she does some of the kind of TRA arguments that I see happening. And that's the worst part, is knowing that people just took the wrong parts of it. And that's what they got like inspired by. And then they're also watching like Philosophy Tube, who's just like throwing out shit anyway. But yeah, it sucks. But yeah, thanks for watching, you know, it's important to me.
Is it not? Okay, I don't, maybe I'm getting too transphobic. You need to tell me. You need to fucking hold me back, guys, okay? You gotta hold me back from
I think I've been way more transphobic than he has in this video. But I'm actually trans, so I just don't give a shit, to be fair. I'm a cis man. I often get mistakenly addressed as ma'am because of how voicey I... Yeah, fair enough. I still get called ma'am on the phone quite often, or like madam or whatever. Like even when I worked in an office and I was on the phone a lot, which is, you know, a large part of my job was like talking to people for like over 4 years. Like people would still call me ma'am most of the time. I get the odd sir, and it's like I'd prefer if they didn't call me that, but I can't do much. But my natural voice is like quite gay sounding. I sound like a gay man, I think.
The shit. It just.
Did divorced women used to say dead naming when they changed last names back? I don't know. I need to look into that.
I guess that I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, ContraPoints doesn't talk about like politics or anything anymore. It was pretty clear. I don't know if she said stuff in interviews, but it was pretty clear from like her content and a lot of stuff that people were not taking the right message from her. And that must be a lot to deal with. I don't know. Like, you know, maybe I'll be in that situation myself one day. I hope not. But I think I'm pretty clear with my views. Like, watching ContraPoints now, it feels like mixed messages because you're getting some of the TRA stuff and some of, honestly, the gender critical stuff, being very open to the fact that you're not actually literally a female, you know? Like, nowadays, I feel like you have to be more unambiguous. And I guess I try and present myself like quite unambiguously as much as I can, even though I'm fairly center-leaning in most ways.
I've become so much more skeptical now of this narrative that's perpetuated. Like, I get that it would be, you know, a bit perturbing if it's used in a certain way or something like that, right? Like if someone was like, oh, hey, Steve. Hey, Steve, pass me the butter, Steve. Hey, Steve, pass me the ketchup, Steve, 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 he, Steve, 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 he, Steve, Steve. Yeah, I get that. That's going to feel bad, okay? But if someone refers to you in the past as, you know, like if there's a picture of you in the past when you presented as a man, okay, and they call you the name you had when you were a man, I just find it very difficult to believe that is like the same level as distressing as what like I described when someone's doing it intentionally to like hurt you. Do you know what I mean? It's like hypersensitivity. Things were a lot better before we had to hear about trans issues every day on Twitter and YouTube. It's effectively Nicholas, after today, we're not doing any gender stuff for a while, okay? I just wanted to dip my toe in it because I love a good conversation about gender, and I thought I'd chuck it in today as I'm doing overtime. But normally, I would not want to go into this much with it. But I think after today, we're done with gender stuff for a little while, all right? For fuck's sake, he wasn't presenting as a male at the time. He was fucking a male. Okay. Some of you people, I'm trying to be cautious because I do need to be aware. Okay? I do need to be aware of TOS. But I've got to say, some people on the pronoun thing, I'm getting more annoyed by the other side at this point, right? Because the way my brain works is that I look at someone who looks kind of like a woman and they're trying to look like a woman, and my brain goes, she. That's where my brain goes, right? Generally speaking, okay?
Whereas I see someone go around with the bulge outline of their cock hanging out in like loads of pictures, and I assume they probably want to be called a he because they're showing off their cock. And then when I talk about them, I get told that I'm transphobic and misgendering. So I don't know.
Or, you know, something like that. But when you say that, people get angry at you. Not the trans people, but the people on the other side get angry at you. I've seen people complaining about...
This is true, by the way. Like, people that are pathological about pronouns in either direction are just fucking annoying. Like, you don't need to correct people either way. Like, just let people say whatever they're saying. Like, what is it? I'm sure, like, when I used to use Kiwi Farms occasionally, there'd be rules saying things like no one cares about pronouns. But you'd still see people, like, correcting people who use what the trans person considered the correct pronouns. Isn't that still caring about pronouns? Isn't that still being kind of pathological and annoying about it? Like, just leave people to say whatever the fuck they want, you know?
About misgendering, okay? And you think, oh, what, a trans person complaining about misgendering? That's nothing new. No. You refer to a trans woman as she, and the fucking other side go insane. Don't misgender them. He, don't misgender. Oh, what? Yeah, you're just like the other people. What do you mean? You're just like them, moaning about misgendering. Are you serious right now? Like, look.
I think the utilitarian statement of hurt is not harm is pretty applicable here. Things hurt, you don't want to hurt others. Sometimes you will be hurt and it isn't going to harm you. That is really good, actually. I should look more into that statement, because, yeah, like, being misgendered hurts, but we treat it like it's a hate crime. Like, it's nuts. And then people say things like hate crimes are on the increase, and that can involve anything from full-on assault to being misgendered. And we love to do that kind of thing, though. We love to pack things in so they seem like a really bad issue, but when you start looking more closely, it's like, no. It's a bit like that 640 whatever bills that have been introduced this year, anti-trans bills. When actually, if you start looking at them, it's like, yeah, some of them are bad. A lot of them are contentious, even among trans people. So how's that anti-trans? Some of these are literally nothing. It's like, you know, for every one that actually passes, 10 fail. Like, come on.
I get it. And I'm not going to fucking bust your balls if you want to, you know, refer to biological reality when you refer to someone. I'm not going to, you know, go super hard on that as long as you're not being a dick about it. I don't really care that much, right?
Yeah, it's the same with me. I'm not going to really go out of my way to correct people that dead name or like misgender people. So it's like annoying when I get corrected. I expect it from like trans people and stuff, but from like anti-woke people or whatever, it's like, just shut the fuck up, you know?
But then when I engage in my speech and I look at someone and I have a thought in my head and it makes me say that, all of a sudden, you're misgendering. Stop misgendering. Give me a fucking break. I'm not going to take it from fucking trans people who are insane with it. I'm not going to take it from you either, you fucking retard. Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ. It's so annoying. Just shut up. Just you refer to how you want, I'll refer to how, and we'll leave it at that. It's just as bad. They're calling...
There's always been something like quite cathartic about trans content. Like, I don't like the odd occasions where I go off on someone in chat, because it really doesn't happen very often. It's usually someone being like deliberately obnoxious. But like, I don't know, there's something satisfying about watching him put like chatters in their place, because like people his size, they get some right fucking morons in their chats. It's like, it's crazy.
Calling it misgendering, just the same as the trans do. It's mental. Anyway, I don't know, I just find it's just so irritating to me. You're being just as fucking insufferable as the other side. Those aren't true turfs. We don't believe misgendering is real. Okay. Well, I'm not going to go along with your delusion. It's like, okay. I think you're a bit too baked in to the culture war if you think that saying she or someone saying she is someone...
Listen, this is why I say there's people pathological on both sides, you know?
...on doing that, when it could just be, I think of them as that because, you know, that's kind of what they look like to me and I just think of that, you know? One of the best examples of this is like, remember when Ben Shapiro would talk about Blair White, and Blair White looks very feminine, and Ben Shapiro would go out of his way, he would go she, I mean he.
Well, that was Laverne Cox, but yeah, I don't know. Like, we don't pronoun people based on sex. We pronoun people based on what we see. That's just how it is. Like, if you're not far left, if you're like TRA and you think that pronouns are something you have to give to other people to then use on you, then you're fucking wrong, because anyone can just not say them. If you're someone who believes it's strictly sex-based, then you're kind of wrong as well, because you don't always know someone's sex, and it doesn't really matter that much if you don't give someone the right pronoun, it turns out. So I don't know. You're not disturbing some great biological truth by calling a trans person a she instead of a he, you know? So it's kind of cooked on both ends, really.
It's like you're doing the opposite thing, you know? You're doing the opposite of the progressive thing. Just let it come naturally, all right? And, you know, obviously, I tend to be, you know, fair. And if someone says, I prefer this, I'll go with that. If you really don't want to do that, I'm not going to say that you have to. But just don't be so fucking anal about it. Jesus, calm down. It's not that deep. The world isn't going to come to an end because you choose to use a certain pronoun to refer to someone. And that statement goes both ways, okay? To be clear. Anyway, putting them on blast like this is crazy straight away. I let them know that was hurtful and helped them edit it. And then they refuse my edits and referring to me as she, her in the past.
Yeah, because they're like, we have to have so much control over people. Like, oh God. Maybe it's my experience of like abusive people, but like this kind of controlling shit is just disgusting to me.
Edited, though I changed some things, it just doesn't feel right for me to say she when referring to someone who was clearly presenting as male at the time. Okay. Ellen Page. Oh wait, fuck! No! Dead name. No, I just did it! But let's think of it like this, okay?
If I say Ellen Page, do you think I'll get banned on either Twitch or YouTube? I just did it, so I guess we'll find out.
What's Ellen? What is Mr. Page's name now? Oh, I'm bad. Elliot, right? So Elliot was in the movie Juno, okay? And at the time, presented as a woman. In fact, didn't Mr. Girl make this exact argument? I think I'm getting this from Mr. Girl, in fact. Fuck. But I think the argument goes, so, you know, I'm supposed to watch Juno, and I'm supposed to say, look at Elliot in this movie. Doesn't he, or is it...
Yeah, that whole thing is like stupid. Like, if you end up calling them Ellen Page because you see a movie in which they were in fact still Ellen Page, then I don't know what kind of terrible, heinous crime that is, but sure.
No, it was Jordan Peterson, wasn't it? It was Jordan Peterson. Doesn't he look wonderful getting pregnant like this? He looks so happy with the bundle of joy that he is going to have. I'm glad that Elliot, the man, got pregnant in this movie. Is that not absurd? Like, I don't know, that seems crazy to me. I just think, okay, trans people, listen to me now, okay? Listen to me now, trans people. I'm going to tell you what to think as a cis white guy, okay? Which is apparently relevant. I think I'm on board with you that people shouldn't be unreasonable and unnecessarily harsh to you. I'm on board with that, okay? But I think you've got to have a little bit of like ability to have someone look at a picture of you when you were a fella and be able to go, he, and not freak out too much about it.
No, I refuse. That's transphobic. Bye. I'm joking.
Okay, I think you're going to do yourself a lot of justice if you're just a bit more chill about that sort of thing. You know, if it's not intended in a sort of like brutal, harsh way or something. You know, what do you reckon, guys? Is that fair? I think that's pretty reasonable, isn't it?
Michael Knowles and a crazy SJW woman on whatever both use whichever pronouns they preferred without correcting one another even once. Yeah, fair enough. It's easier if people just carry on, accept that we're all gonna address people differently in this day and age, and it's just how it is. I don't know. I pretty much have given up caring about, like, if people want to call me a he, it's not what I prefer, but they just fucking can, I guess. People are going to call me a they because people think that that's, like, middle ground. And it's what I call most genderqueer people because I just don't know what their pronouns are and I don't care. And if they want to be it or, like, Ziza or some shit, I just can't be fucked using it, so...
Just to be clear, I disagree with Chud here that you shouldn't be unnecessarily mean to trans people.
Juno's a great... I've seen Juno, I quite liked it. I've not seen Inception. I think Juno is the only thing I've seen Ellen Page in.
Sadly, DK has been drinking the gender-critical Kool-Aid, unfortunately. I'm afraid to say. Fortunately, we are very open to political disagreements. But sadly, DK is a lot more transphobic than I am. It's always been the case, to be fair. In fact, as I get more transphobic, he just gets worse. So if anything, it's my fault, to be honest. Like, I don't even know how to respond to her right now. At least she accepted most of my edits and took off the he, hims, and the dead names. Although, funny thing is, she uses the wrong dead name, so she forgot my dead name, and thank God. God, this whole thing just makes me super happy that I killed and buried my dead name. Okay.
What's all the bitching about, then? Like, Jesus Christ. This is, like, this kind of weird, like, whiplash of, like, tone and stuff. It reminds me of Pissed Off Lawyer. I want to find a post to, like, illustrate my point whenever I think of this, but, like, there never is one, which is really irritating. But it, like, takes these, like, selfies, like, supposedly showing trans joy, where his face is all, like, this is trans joy, right? And then, like, oh yeah, I just got a new haircut, which really gives me trans joy. And then it's, like, paragraphs and paragraphs about transphobes, like, weird shit. Fucking hell. Pronoun drama, just fucking stop. He, she, or they. Yeah, it's just swamping any kind of dialogue. I have to check out Inception. I might watch it at some point. I'm really not a big movie person because, I don't know, it's a massive cliche, but I'm, like, kind of ADHD and, like, focusing on anything for that length of time is kind of... I mean, I've been watching this for, like, fucking over 2 hours, not 20, whatever. But yeah, I might do sometime.
I feel like this is really shitty to put this on blast. Just totally unnecessary and excessive. Anyway, here it is, guys. The final thing I wanted to show you, okay? So this links into a little piece of law that you guys might get a kick out of, okay?
Wait, before you hit that button, let me hit this one. Join and get a welcome bonus.
That guy looks a bit like Matt Berry, but he sounds absolutely nothing like him.
So, I'm surprised no local national reporter has done an in-depth background piece on Rep. Zooey Zephyr, given all the national attention. Zooey Zephyr, I believe, is Erin Reed's partner, fiance, trans person, who is, it says it right there, state representative of Missouri. And they were...
Yeah, this person's like an actual politician. So Zoe Zephyr is another trans person that this Erin Reed is with. Most of these, like, trans lesbian relationships are, like, 2 trans women, so basically gay again. Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a trans lesbian relationship myself, but not with another trans woman, so I don't know. I win somehow, I guess.
Involved in some controversy because I believe they got kicked out of the chambers or something like that. And they said it was because they were trans, but apparently it wasn't or something. I don't fucking know. Anyway.
Yeah, if they say it's because they're trans, it definitely isn't. Just use that as a rule of thumb at this point.
Hey, Aaron, as I sent to your friend Jeremy, your shoddy journalism is libellous and false, and as you mentioned in your article, drawn from a Nazi site. I'm not a convicted drug felon. This is libel, and I demand an immediate retraction, or you will hear from my attorney. Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
When is offence justified? I'll have to have a look at some point, yeah.
But I didn't get into this. But check the farms if you want to have a look at some of that stuff. Definitely send me your thoughts response. Happy to include. You and or Rep Zephyr also welcome to join us on air, as I've stated publicly before. Thank you for...
Oh, I had a comment just saying, oh great, another Blair White. I'm nothing like fucking Blair White, okay?
Retracting, Aaron. There's a lot more libellous, false info in here. This is what you get for relying on Kiwi farms. I demand that you next retract.
That is not harm. Yeah, that's a really interesting concept. I actually haven't heard that saying before. That's a really good one. Like, we do need to stop making out that all hurt is also harm. And that seems to be what we're doing, because we're just trying to upgrade everything. Like being touched on the shoulder without your will is like rape now, and being misgendered accidentally in a cafe when you weren't wearing any makeup and you hadn't shaved in 3 days, like that's transphobia or like a hate crime now, you know what I mean? I don't think I'm anything like Blair White. I think people just hear an opinion that isn't the fucking cult opinion. It's like, oh, you must be another Blair White. Wow, amazing job. Gunshot sound effect. Maybe I should. Listen, I have sound effects, but they're just trans people saying strange things, and it's mostly just for like notifications and stuff. Nothing like Blair White. She's a legitimate pygmy, nasty grifter. I don't know if I even think that's necessarily true. I think it probably becomes true after a while. But like, oh, thank you, Dano. Yeah, I don't know, like, I don't know. I'm always very iffy on the pick me thing. I think I do get her and where she's like coming from, but she does kind of take one side a lot more than I do. I don't know. It's hard. I mean, I've never had a conversation with this person, so I'm not trying to like, I'm not like trying to read her or anything because I don't know her. You know, I've had like one mini argument with her on Twitter about fucking Donald Trump because we very much disagree on that. So I don't know. That should be people's first clue, but hey, maybe not. I guess. I don't know. I guess everyone that's a pick me on the internet gets called Blair White at some point. So it's probably just a rite of passage.
It's that I was court ordered to not wear my ex-wife's clothes.
Wait, no, I need to get that again. Jesus Christ.
Lying on Kiwi farms. I demand that you next retract that I was court ordered to not wear my ex-wife's clothes.
I've heard about that. Listen, I don't know how true it is because I haven't seen the source or whatever, but that's crazy. Fake her political compass test. Yeah. Unlisted the video. Was she meant to like land more right or less right than she actually did? Do you know what I mean? Was she trying to pretend she was more left or more right? Does have a left-wing bias. She has a lot more to say about the left than the right. The thing is, I have more to say about the left than the right as well, but it's the left that are claiming to like defend trans people a lot more than the right. And trans people are generally left-wing. And to me, I think my criticism of people on the left is more meaningful than my criticism of the right. Because like the right aren't going to listen to me anyway. I'm a trans woman who doesn't like Donald Trump very much. Like that's kind of what's going to happen. Yeah, I really like Chud Logic. I've been watching him for a few years now. He was supposed to be center left, but she pretended it was center. Oh my god, cringe. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I like some of her stuff. I definitely don't want to be another person just watching like cringy TikToks all day. Like it's fine that people do that, but there's a bit of a cottage industry for it, and it's not really me. I do need to go on TikTok at some point and show some stuff because it's very relevant to some of the stuff I'm trying to talk about, but it hasn't happened yet.
This is also false and libellous. I just look. This is the lolcow gene on a broad thing here, right? Like, okay, if it's just factually untrue that you're a convicted drug felon, yeah, maybe you want to get that retracted, okay? Fair. But this is just something I think you just got to kind of take on the chin, so to speak, okay?
Yeah, you're like spreading a rumor even if it's untrue about yourself. Tipster. I've watched Tipster a couple of times. He's something.
Retract the claim that the court ordered I don't wear my ex-wife's clothes. You're just come on. You got it's just too much. You're oh, well, I'm in the wrong category.
Listen, I have some videos on my channel that have more views than some of the views Tipster gets nowadays. He has like 6-figure subscribers. I have like 400, like total.
Dude, why? I don't know. I didn't change it. That's absurd. I went other. Fuck off, whoever changed that. Envy Desire. Oh! Is it Amy? Amy on...
Oh, yeah, I follow her. She's interesting. She's like super based sometimes and then super soy other times, which I kind of respect in a way, even though some of it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was unironically subbed to Tippy some years ago, but then he went a bit weird. I've never actually subscribed to Tipster until recently. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, he grifts for trans people. He's the kind of person where it's like, why watch him when you could be watching Xanderhal? But then why watch Xanderhal when you could be watching Vorsh? But then why be watching Vorsh when you could be watching literally fucking anything else, you know? That's where Tipster is at for me now. And he's like, he's so pathetic and like, he's got nothing left. So of course he's like simping to trans people. You know what I mean? Just started watching a channel, underrated. Oh, thank you so much. I thought you had more subs. Yeah, well, soon it'll be a reality that I'll have more subs, so it's fine.
On Twitter, yeah, I meant to watch that at some point, but I didn't get around to it. Envy Desire.
Sam, you're very kind. Was it you that mentioned about the Egg IRL subreddit? Because he was talking about the same kind of stuff you were.
I think it's about a movie, and it's like,
he never used to talk about trans stuff. It was all YouTube drama. Yeah, so he was a drama news kind of channel, kind of like Soy Keemstar. Then he tried to be a commentary YouTuber, and then fell out with all the commentary people. And then he was briefly a Resident Evil streamer because he defended Vorsh and Keffels, and everyone hated him after that. And now he talks about like left-wing politics and trans people. So that's the Tipster arc, you know what I mean? You and Finding Sky are the most centrist LGBT YouTubers I've ever seen. Thank you. I don't know if I know Finding Sky. Maybe I do actually. Oh, what have I done? What have I done? I added something to a reading list. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know if I watched something by Finding Sky or like a couple of things, like a good couple of months ago by now. Yes, I watched this one and another one about Pride. Yeah, she was really based. I fully agreed with what she was saying.
the person's got a boyfriend and then they start transitioning. Is that what it is?
But there's the thing, like, there's so little representation, like, more towards the center for trans people. There's so many, like, further right ones, like Blair White, etc. There's, like, a million fucking left-wing ones. Like, Jesus Christ.
Maybe we should watch that on stream at some point. Thank you for retracting this portion as well. Since this was the entirety of your hit piece towards me, I've no further retraction request for you. You may get others from others in this article, though. You should be ashamed of this shoddy journalism. Okay.
Queeman spot. Oh, was he in the chat in Chud's thing? I like Queeman. Where's my mouse? There it is.
Okay.
Well, either left wing or pretending to be left wing, or I don't know. I'll find a way to like describe it more accurately so that you you stop complaining one day. I promise.
Hang on a sec. Sorry. Let me.
Oh, the oh shit. Yeah. I don't know. The idea of having a soundboard and like dropping a hot take and then like hitting the oh shit. It's like, oh my god. Yeah, I'm sub to Finding Sky 2 now. But yeah, I discovered her while I was doing this. I discovered lots of people while I was doing this, and there's a lot that I don't like very much. But you meet the odd person, or you come across the odd person that's like actually talking sense, and it's like, I don't know, you get some nice surprises, I guess.
What? Oh, maybe it's here. I'm trying to find the thing. Where's the thing? I had it earlier. Come on. There's no way. Let me find it. Hang on. I've got it. Wait. My bad. Here we go. This is what I wanted to show you. Kate shall make arrangements at her expense to remove her subject property from Erin's rented townhome by March 1st, 2021, and Erin shall arrange that Andy not be at Erin's residence when Kate removes the items. All the remaining items listed under the non-marital property section should be Erin's sole and exclusive property. However, Erin shall not wear any of Kate's clothes as identified in attached Exhibit 3.
That's so weird. Listen, I need to do more, like, research before I confirm that this is true, but, like, what the fuck? Like, these things don't usually come from nowhere, you know what I mean? You should not wear any of your ex-wife's clothes. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I wonder what happened. I wonder what would have happened if, like, Erin actually wore some of the clothes and she could, like, smell it or something. Like, what would have happened? Having to go to court because you wore someone's clothes when you said you wouldn't. I don't know, it's just funny. Listen, I'm very glad I had no kids and no, like, commitments of any kind when I transitioned. Like, I think people should be way more careful if they have those things in their life. What is my mouse doing? I can't find it. There it is.
So, for the sake of accuracy, okay, I do not think it is fully correct to say that a judge ordered you to not wear your wife's clothes. I believe this was a request from the wife that was written down in the proceedings of the courts. Okay? Is that it? Have I swerved a defamation suit? Ooh.
I'm pretty far left, but rarely ever agree with how black and white online contemporaries are with pretty much everything. Yeah, I used to be the same. Like I was a bit more like left than I am now. Like not by a huge amount. But like all of my friends that like proclaim themselves like socialists and like anarchists and like far leftists and stuff, like they just come out with the weirdest fucking shit. And it's like, I don't know. I could never get down with any extreme shit, you know? 24 years ago, when I was 8 years old, I made flower crowns with a girl named ooh, nice, named after someone. I remember wanting to be her so badly. Oof. I don't know. It's always that story, isn't it? I don't know the truth. I don't know when they met trans people and how soon after they transitioned, but that seems to be the usual trajectory.
What's this? Oh, this
How white and of color, yeah. Jesus.
Oh, 24 years ago when I was 8 years old, I made flower crowns with a girl named Erin. I got teased badly and I remember wanting to be her so badly. 24 years later, I'm Erin and I'm rocking my flower crown.
Oh my god, it's so wholesome. It's so wholesome though. There's certain times when, especially when I'm watching like a more normal person reacting to this kind of stuff, when I forget how like bizarre like trans people are. And so things that don't really make me flinch a whole lot, I kind of remember, oh wait, there's someone else watching this. Do you know what I mean? I'm so numb to like so much weird shit that comes from like trans people now.
Oh wait, hang on a sec. I think I had one more thing here, didn't I? Oh, maybe not. That's weird. But yeah, guys, there we go. Make of that what you will, okay? But that is the end of that segment and the end of the stream. Oh, there we go. Thoughts? Erin seems like a great person. I mean, look. I did do a full stream. I said I was going to end it earlier, and I just ended up doing a full stream. All I'm going to say is this, okay? I think that there's this tendency that I find sometimes with some of these online trans activists is you go and have a look at some of the stuff they've done, and it's just like, I mean, that wasn't the worst one I've ever seen, okay? I've seen way worse, but it's just like the unnecessary posting. Okay, online trans activist, base level, continuously posting lots of things that you don't need to, that end up making you look bad later when people come and laugh about it, okay? GoFundMe.
Listen, this is just a compulsion for us. I mean, I've seen, like, Frida Wallace seems to give her weird photos out to anyone that fucking talks to her. You've got the Heather Herbert one where she's in a disabled loo dilating and she's like, and it's just the worst thing ever. You've got fucking Sophie Molly with the fucking clothes pegs on her nipples and like on her nose or whatever the fuck it was. Like, Jesus Christ, we just can't stop ourselves. I'm sorry. Like, a trans person having their nudes on the internet is like the least crazy thing ever, pretty much. I don't know, I'm losing my mind. I've been on for like nearly 4 hours. Like, there's no fucking, I'm not going to edit this shit. I'm just going to throw it straight up because like, fuck going through this whole thing again.
For often various surgeries, in some cases, like in this case, you know, apparent legal proceedings, okay? What else is there? There's just some base level stuff, isn't there, you know? Well, my biggest issue with Erin is just the misinformation that they've published in regards to the cash review.
Want the widest selection of games? You're on. Unibet has hundreds of top quality, exhilarating...
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. Like the crazy like escalation, which is happening on both sides as far as I can see it. Like, it just put me off this shit. It, like, pushed me towards the middle because it's like, I don't know where the sense is anymore. Everyone's gone insane. But anyway, yeah. So Chud Logic, Alejandro Caraballo and Erin Reed. Yeah, I'll go more into them on other stuff. I need to go through like some of their writings and compare it to things that I'm hearing. I need to identify more people that are using these people as sources. I watched a Luxander video yesterday, and that was very clear. And they've done previous ones. I looked at a bunch of stuff to do with detrans in like one go, and one of them was a Luxander thing, and it was about it was about detransitioners. It was about there was a study that showed a like be less than 5% regret rate for like some surgery or like trans procedure in general. Like these people like slap them down like trump cards. Like this is a study that confirms everything we're saying. Like actually we're right. And like her source is fucking Erin in the Morning, who's full of shit. It's like Jesus fucking Christ.